Welcome to the May School Board meeting. First thing on the agenda is our Pledge of Allegiance. If you could all please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, a couple real quick business things before we get into recognitions. And we will be doing our faculty and staff recognitions first, and then followed by all of the student recognitions. So please be patient with us. The board will be meeting in executive session afterwards to discuss some legal and personnel issues. Secretary correspondence.
Just a letter I'll send around from the Desmond project, thanking everybody.
I don't think she got it. Did you get one? All right. Our superintendent suggested we jump to recognitions. Because these three people look bored.
You can always stay if you'd like to hear the legislative report, but if you would choose not to.
All right, so let's jump to recognitions, and I will turn it over to Dr. Gifford.
All right, thank you, Mr. Barrett, and good evening, everybody. What a great night. So tonight we're going to recognize some outstanding staff members for their remarkable service and also a long stretch of service to Great Valley. So we're very excited to acknowledge our service awards. We have a handful of retirees that we'd like to acknowledge, and then we're also going to have some students, and that's why we're all here, is to see students succeed, and we'll see some great examples of some of our student accolades and accomplishments. So to help the process move along, we're going to start off with our years of recognition. Here at Great Valley, every year, we honor those staff members who have 25 years of service, and those that have 30, and those that have 35 years of service. So when I call your name for the Service Recognition Awards, I'm going to ask that you kindly meet me here in the center. I do have an award and some plaques and other awards that we'll give you. And we will do a photo opportunity. I know Dr. O'Toole is going to work the camera and take some pictures. So I don't know if Dr. Speaker Kolovinsky and Mr. Barrett, if you'd like to come around, we'll get you ready for the photos, if you can come around. And I'd like to start. We have a lot of people that have 25 years of service here at Great Valley, and unfortunately only about half could make it. Those who were unable to make it tonight, I want to make sure we acknowledge them. First is Kathy Burton-Zetti. She's an aide at General Wayne Elementary School. I'd like to recognize her achievement of 25 years, along with Leslie Beauregard, our gifted teacher, working at General Wayne in Sugartown. Pamela Converse, who is one of our administrative assistants at Sugartown. Donna Gimbel, a language arts teacher at the middle school. Linda Melanie, who is an aide at General Wayne. And Jerry McGrath, one of our social studies teachers at the high school on 25 years of service. So a round of applause for them, even though they're not here. Yeah. And we do have 6 award winners with 25 years who are here. And first, I'd like to ask Owen Brown to come down. Owen is a middle school teacher, and he does math in our middle school. All right, so Owen, congratulations to you. Okay. Also at the middle school is a science teacher, Teresa LaJudas. Teresa, if you could join us. Okay. Also at the middle school, another science teacher, Chris McKenna. Chris, could you come down, please? I thought I had seen Chris earlier, maybe not. All right. Next is Marge Orlowski, an English teacher, language arts at the middle school. Marge? sticking with the middle school theme, Ann Search, a math teacher at the middle school. All right, and we have a high school teacher breaking the trend, Don Morbido, a social studies teacher. Congratulations, Don. Congratulations and thank you for all your service. Next, we'd like to acknowledge those staff members with 30 years of service, and we have actually three, I'm sorry. First, and he can't be here, is Paul Kent. Paul is a phys ed and health teacher at the high school. I'd like to recognize his 30 years of service here at Great Valley. Sharon Webster is also being recognized for 30 years of service. She is a third grade teacher at Sugartown. And Sharon's here, but she had to go, but at least she was able to join us, and she had some personal things to tend to. But congratulations to Sharon. And the 130-year recipient who is here is our district office assistant director of business affairs, Dolores Demore. Dolores, where are you? Right here. Congratulations, Dolores. Okay. And the last of our years of service award, we have someone with 35 years of service here at Great Valley, and that person is Pat Scott, our head custodian at the high school. I'll take it up for you, Pat. Again, congratulations to all of our service award winners. We really appreciate all you do to make Great Valley such a special place. The next part of our recognition here is to acknowledge our retirees. And we do have a large number of retirees this year. And I'd say we have about half of them that were able to attend tonight. And so we are going to do it by building and by area. And so what we'll do with the retirees is we'll have the supervisor of that department come up and introduce his or her staff that is retiring and offer some kind and sometimes humorous and heartfelt remarks. So I'd like Nicole Amelia, our food service director, to come up and honor her retirees first. Nicole?
Thank you. I'm going to try to do this without shedding a tear. Tonight marks the end of an era for the food service department. I am here today to speak on behalf of 3 members of the food service team that have together a combined 93 years of service. I was going to try to calculate how many meals that actually ends up being, and got to be too much. 2 of our staff members were not able to be here tonight, but I'd like to recognize Helen Cockerham, who has spent the last 30 years with the food service department, and through hard work and dedication has helped to shape the department into what it is today. Helen has consistently been a dependable and valued employee who assisted with our satellite meal program and catering. It has been an honor to work with her, and we wish her the very best for the future. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Gail Schroeder for her time and dedication to the food service department. While she is not technically retiring this year, she is concluding her 33-year-long career in the Great Valley Food Service Department as the secondary coordinator. She started as a sub in 1985 and moved her way up to the secondary coordinator, overseeing the high school, the middle school, and the satellite meal program. And she did the satellite meal program, overseeing it with 13 private and parochial schools, and sometimes more. She serves as a personal role model for myself and a mentor, and I'm really honored to be able to stand up here and speak on her behalf. And I know she serves as a role model for many others as well, and we all wish her nothing but the best in her future endeavors. So thank you. Lastly, I'm honored to recognize Jean Redman. She retired from the food service department in March after 30 years. She made sure to get those 30 years. She was hired as the assistant manager in the high school in June of 1999 and was promoted to the middle school coordinator that following December. As the middle school coordinator, she was responsible for serving over 150,000 meals a year at the middle school cafeteria alone, per year. She was responsible for up to 7 private and parochial schools, and sometimes more, and served meals under the satellite meal program. And her biggest accomplishment was really her customer relations. If you know Jeannie, you will understand why I say that. Jeannie's energy and enthusiasm for the students of Great Valley is shown through the passion she instilled in the middle school food service staff and the work she did every day. She leaves behind a legacy of quality, laughter, and love, and we thank her and wish her nothing but the best.
Thank you so much.
We're going to get your picture. We'll do both, yeah. Congratulations, Chief. And after all the retirees, we will get a group photo as well at the end, so. Mr. Linderman?
Just to clarify the math, I did the math, 93 years, 170 serving days a year, average, probably low end, about 900 meals a day. It's just under 15 million meals, so it's just math. Just math. Huh? It's just math. I really miss your apple crisp with the soft yogurt when it's warm.
I have to call my Stephanie.
I was going to cry over that. All right, would you call your replacement, talk to her about that? Okay. I want to call, actually, I'm not supposed to be doing this tonight, it's supposed to be Jim Abraham. Unfortunately, he had a little incident and was in the hospital today, so everything's fine. He'll be out for a little bit, but fine. So I want to introduce Ken Morris. He's Jim's, I want to say, faithful assistant. You met my faithful assistant. Or I thought Dolores was getting the Putting Up with Chuck award, but it was just a retirement thing. But so Ken's going to go over the 3 retirees from the maintenance staff.
Good evening. Tonight we honor 3 custodial retirees. And although they differ in years of service and building to which they worked, they had one thing in common. They took great pride in their careers and were very, very dedicated to the building staff and students that they served. First on the list is Dan Santangelo. Dan is retiring after 10 years here at Great Valley. He previously worked as a truck driver and ran a printing press. He started his career at Charlestown Elementary before moving to third shift at the high school. Dan started his shift at 11 p.m. and worked till 7 a.m. Dan was essential for holding down the fort overnight and not only making sure the building was secure, but also ready for the next day. This included not only the area that he cleaned and was responsible for, but also ensuring that during the winter months, the sidewalks were clear and ready for staff to come in the next morning. Dan was also referred to as the carpet guru. He was meticulous in keeping the carpets and mats inside the doors clean during the long winter months. It was often said that if there was a carpet that Dan couldn't bring back to life, it definitely needed to be replaced. He was also referred to as pleasant, polite, friendly, and recognized as outgoing, as going out of his way to assist others. He was also known for his toy collection, which consisted of original G.I. Joe, Star Wars, NASCAR, just to name a few. Yes. He was also very generous with his toys and offered them to fellow co-workers for their children and grandchildren. Dan will be greatly missed here at Great Valley, and we wish him the best as he enters the next chapter in his life. Next on the list is Joe Lobeck. Joe is retiring after 14 years of service here at Great Valley. Prior to coming to Great Valley, he worked for 30 years for the railroad out of Philadelphia. He is also a Vietnam vet. He started his career at Great Valley at the high school, moved to Katy Markley, then found his home at Charlestown on second shift. Joe was very respected and loved by the staff at Charlestown. He took care of them like they were his own family and often spoiled them. Joe was also referred to as the face of Charlestown. His work with outside groups, parents, and anyone else who visited the school in the afternoon and evening for activities is what earned him his title. Joe was a huge Eagle fan, along with the Philadelphia Phillies, and he loved going to the games. As an example of his generosity and kindness, when the Phillies won the World Series, Joe was unable to attend the parade. He was very heartbroken. But he had 2 tickets to the stadium where the parade would end and the players would give their speeches. He offered them to Mr. Abraham so that he could attend. Joe is truly a family man, a proud husband, parent, and a papa. Joe will be greatly missed and will always be a part of the Great Valley family. All right. Last but not least, we have Bruce Belgrau. Following in the tradition of his parents, who both worked here at Great Valley, Bruce has served the Great Valley community for 35 years. He started his career at Sugartown Elementary on second shift to become the head custodian there. Shortly after, he became the head custodian General Wayne, where he spent the greater part of his career. Bruce loved General Wayne Elementary School, but most of all, he loved the children. He knew every kid by name and greeted them every morning with smiles and high fives. Bruce interacted with them whenever possible, participating in afternoon activities with the students and also as part of the stage crew. Bruce was known for his artwork for the musicals and plays, often making sets out of styrofoam and glitter, which the kids loved. And if you ever visited his office, you would know what I'm talking about. Bruce was also famous for his school picnics with his famous country sausage that he brought back every year from the mountains to share with his custodial staff and the maintenance crew. As much as Bruce loved General Wayne and his students there's one thing he loves more: his family, his wife Marge, daughter Ashley, and his precious granddaughter Maya. Mr. Bruce, as the kids call you, we salute you and wish you the very best. Your dedication, devotion, and kindness will be legendary here at Great Valley.
Last second, Bonnie wanted to, Mrs. Citron, Principal of General Wayne, wanted to say a few words about Mr. Bruce.
Thank you. I know we have a lot of recognitions tonight, but I could not let this go by without saying a few words about Mr. Bruce. He was an integral part of our General Wayne staff, and we are still learning how to live without Mr. Bruce. So good evening. I would like just to take a moment to recognize who I consider an outstanding individual. Many of you may or may not know our famous Mr. Bruce, but he retired from General Wayne on November 30th. And even though we were all very sad to see him go, we are happy that he will get to enjoy the things he loves most in life: his family, his granddaughter Mia, his time at the mountains, and having nowhere special to go in the morning, which I think is his favorite. If you know, he was at General Wayne probably around 5 to 5:30 every morning, never failed. We will miss everything that Mr. Bruce did for us: making soup, checking on us to see if we were okay and everything in our room was satisfactory, high fives in the hallway, cleaning our rooms, replacing light bulbs, cooking hamburgers and hot dogs, cleaning up the floods, driving the injured on the golf cart, and so many more. I can't even begin to name them all. Even though we have found someone to fill this spot at General Wayne, no one will ever really replace our Mr. Bruce. We wish him all the best in his retirement, and we miss him. Thank you very much.
And finally, from our department, Beverly Campbell is in the back somewhere. I see her. Now, Bev is Jim's secretary, so I normally wouldn't. He would be doing this, as I said. So I'm going to kind of paraphrase some of what Jim had wrote. He had prepared this, Bev, an awful lot. I said to Cheryl this morning, wherever Cheryl is, I said, "Oh my God, I got to talk about Bev tonight. I have nothing. Where's Jim's speech?" And no one could find it. Kenny went and got it from his wife. But I looked through the stuff and I looked at what Jim wrote and I thought, there's not too much better. I will make things better when it pertains to me. Somebody got that joke. So Bev's been working for Great Valley for 17 years. And during this time, she truly is kind of our utility fielder. You know, on a baseball team, you got that one person that can play all positions. Bev has been that. She's kind of been the jack of all trades in the district office. She's worked in the accounting department with Dolores. She's worked in tech back in the day, and she's been the receptionist. She's worked in transportation. She's, I don't think she's sold any lunches. She might have helped food service a little bit, but maybe not 10 so. She helped in the superintendent's office for a little while, and now, because one of our key players in the business office is on the injured reserve, she has stepped in to be my secretary for the last 3 months of her career, which is, she tells me, is the highlight of her 17 years. So that was my adding. But her main accomplishment over all the time is, in addition to being happy and helpful and willing to pitch in anywhere, is working in the Building and Grounds Department, which I'm going to just read what Jim said so you can hear what he says. Her working, which they was very lucky for me, for Jim. We're a great team, you and him, not me. Although we're a great team now, if you want to consider, till Linda comes back. Bev is truly the backbone of the Building and Grounds Department. With all her tasks coming at her from different directions, she's maintained professional composure, no matter what challenge she comes against, and it was done professionally and efficiently. Bev is definitely Jim's go-to person. She's also known for being the organizer guru. She coordinated all the support staff picnics, the support staff meetings, to name just a few. Bev has taught Jim much during his 3 years of working side by side, and he says he'll be forever grateful. Now, you're retiring in about a month. You'll be missed by many, but none as much as Jim. Bev, your time is approaching, and may you and Mike have a wonderful retirement, especially now that you have all the time to enjoy with your precious granddaughter, Paige. Congratulations. Yeah.
Do we have someone here from IT? Do we have an IT person in the room?
Yeah, could get it right.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Ed Souders. I'm the principal of the Great Valley Middle School, and I have 4 individuals this evening I'd like to acknowledge. 2 of them I do not believe are with us this evening, and that is Judy Fusco and Arlene Pearson. Both Judy and Arlene worked in the capacity of instructional aides as well as clerical support in many buildings. I had the privilege of working with Judy all the way back at Charlestown, and Arlene was really instrumental in supporting one of our students on a day-to-day basis prior to her retirement. And I truly am extremely thankful for both of their support as well as the time and effort they put in to taking care of our kids, teachers, and most importantly at times, sometimes even the administration. So I wish both Judy and Arlene the best in retirement. Before I move into the next individual, Miss Janet Leach, is she here? I saw her here. Just come, Janet, come on up here. Come. Need you over here if you don't mind. Come on over, Janet. Come on down. That's right. Yeah, this individual is walking across in front of us has been doing school psychology work for, 38 years? Now, come on over here. Come on. Yeah. We can hold hands. We can, I can support you at this wonderful time. And honestly, Janet's just amazing. I started off there, 38 years as a school psychologist. But what's interesting, every year before sitting down, I asked, can you just give me a couple pointers, something that I can share if needed to? And it was neat because the information that she did share really, I think, sets a stage for exactly who she is as an individual. Thinking about assessments, she actually sat down with her little sisters at the age of 6 and started doing spelling tests with them. So while slightly different than the battery of assessments that she's using currently with our kids, she definitely was already on that path to building a successful and rewarding career as a school psychologist. She is a graduate of Bucknell as well as Lehigh University. And at Lehigh, she earned her master's in counseling as well as a specialist degree as a school psych and is both state and nationally certified. Prior to GV, though, she was at Bryn Mawr College as well as the Lower Merion School District. And, I think it's appropriate because of how sweet and kind you are that you were actually joined us on Valentine's Day back in 1989, in which she was our first official school psychologist in the district. So I think that in and of itself allows her not only to be a trailblazer in what she does on a daily basis, but one in which she was really the one who blazed the trail for all of our school psychologists and the work that they do on a daily basis. I think I've already alluded to this a little bit, but she is just a very kind, gentle, compassionate, caring individual. I hear so much about what she does with her church, a valued member of a choir, just all the different things that she's shared over the time that she's been with us has really just left a lasting impression on me, and I know everyone that she has had the privilege of working with, and more importantly, we've had the privilege of working with her. When we think about some other things in her family, her relationship with her daughter is one that she always has talked about. And Laura, or Lauren, depending upon who she's speaking to, is she's just so proud of her. And I'm sure that Lauren would be very proud of you and cannot wait to celebrate a very special day in October. I think it's the 6th, correct? Is which her daughter will be getting married. And she actually made me laugh on this. And she doesn't even have to use personal days to attend it. So, so Janet, in closing, I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you've done. You have been a gift to our students and teachers for well over 25 years, and your retirement is deserved. So on behalf of Great Valley School District, thank you. Sure. Our next one is Cal Scheibe. I don't know if she snuck in the door here at the end. All right, well, I actually have to spend some time talking about Carol because there's very few people in a building that we rely on a daily basis to take care of this, really just the overall health and well-being of our kids other than our school nurse. And Carol is someone that, quite honestly, if you ever get a chance to meet her, she's really packaged in a very unique way. And when I give you sort of the history of who she's about as an individual, I think you'll understand how and why I just kind of captured it in that way. Shibo, Carol, Shiby, she was a labor and delivery nurse in the NICU for 10 years prior to following in her mother's footsteps to actually be a school nurse. And she started working with us back in 1989 at General Wayne before she moved over with us to the middle school. I jokingly say this, but I think if she was here, she'd completely understand this, and I don't think it's out of line. She's a perfect combination of that TLC that you need for a school nurse, but she also has that little bit of mom toughness that, hey, suck it up and get back to class. And I've actually heard her say that, but what's interesting is those kids that she says it to are the same ones that show up every morning to pour the juice and get things ready for the kids that come down throughout the day. She just had a knack for what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and I never doubted her commitment to the kids. She loves our students so much that I would even trust her with my own children. And that is something that I'm sure any one of you, if you had the opportunity to work with her, would do the same. Carol, going back to prior to even going into the field of nursing, she knew she always wanted to be a teacher back going all the way into the 70s, but she explained to me that the teaching jobs weren't readily available, so she chose to be a nurse. But I really think there's a lot of similarities in both jobs that we can naturally see how she ended up being a blessing for us as our school nurse. Some interesting facts. This is the one that I thought was interesting, and those at the middle school that are here with us tonight probably may know this, but may not, but many of you may know Miss Byer, one of our 7th grade language arts teachers, but she actually heard Carol's voice before she was born because Carol was I gotta make sure I gotta say this correctly. She was a delivery coach. And so all I know is Emily heard Carol's voice before her own parents, I guess is what she was explaining. So it's a small world. I'm so glad that Carol supported Bill and Debbie at the time to make sure that Emily was successfully brought into the world so she can come back and, again, be a blessing with our kids. So in her retirement, as you know, she spends a great deal of time already with her children, but her grandchildren, I always hear her talking about from George to Kenny to Morgan, and even her most recent addition to her family, Jefferson. So I know she'll be enjoying time at her pool, not only with her grandchildren, but her newest addition to her family, her puppies, and we also are very well aware of the fact that she'll be spending a lot of time in the Caribbean, especially in Aruba and Bonaire, St. Martin and Nevis, due to her enjoyment of scuba diving. So in closing, Carol wrapped it up real nicely. And for those of you who know, she said, hey, Ed, I'm old, and I want to take some time to play. So, Carol, you have definitely earned your play time. I wish you the best.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Michael Flick, and I'm representing the high school as we recognize 5 retirees from the high school tonight. Mr. Joel Braverman was unable to be with us tonight. Joel, as I referred to as JB, has been with Great Valley for 16 years after he spent time in his first career as a lawyer. During Joel's tenure at Great Valley, he has worked in our special education department as well as gifted support. In those years, he taught in our emotional support program and learning support program, supporting his students with special needs in all subject areas, but specializing in social studies. He has co-taught several of our world history classes with Mr. Hess, Ms. McGregor, and Mr. Oswald at the high school, as well as direct instruction social studies to a small group of students. In his last year with Great Valley, Joel has moved out of the special education department into the general education world to teach 7th grade social studies at the middle school. Although he has loved working with Great Valley students in the last 16 years, he is looking forward to retiring to spend time with his wife, Andrea, and his daughters, Molly and Sarah, as well as their significant others, Noah and Patrick. We will miss him moving forward into his retirement, and we will be thinking of him often in the world of special education and middle school social studies. So sorry you could not make it tonight, but a round of applause for Joel. Okay, now, Trish Carlini, where are you? Come on up here, Trish. All right, you ready?
No.
Okay. Our entire French department in the World Language Department is taking a hit tonight, so we're going to celebrate Trish and Sue tonight. Patricia started at Great Valley High School in 1991-92 school year, 27 years of service. Trish was starting when I was just graduating Great Valley. How ironic, right? Trish has taught all levels of French all levels of French, including French 1 through French 5 and AP at the high school. Most of her years were teaching the upper levels. She's married to Michael, has a daughter named Katie, and a son named Daniel. And her grandson is named Ariel. Activities that Trish did. She was an advisor to the Rock Bible Club for many years. Trish has done a lot to support the Christian students and Christian athletes at the high school, including supporting club activities and prayer groups. She has been advisor to the French Club for many years, has taken many trips and organized many activities with the French Club students, including movie nights and trips to New York to see Les Miserables on Broadway. Has co-organized many of the spring break study abroad trips to France along with Sue. Advisor to the French National Honor Society. Attends and supports the high school drama guild productions in order to support her students outside of the classroom. In the classroom, Trish strives to make her lessons fun and interesting and make connections to the French culture and language. Seeks out authentic materials such as music, news reports, commercials, and other items in order to help students connect with the way French is used in our real world. Congratulations, Trish, on a wonderful career. Beverly Mead? I saw you earlier. Yes, come on up, Beverly. Bev has been with Great Valley for 10 years as an instructional aide. In those 10 years, Bev has been an integral support for our special education and general education students. She has spent her 10 years helping out students and teachers throughout the school day in subjects such as social studies, English, and literature labs. The support that Bev has provided to our Great Valley community has been essential to everyone's success in the past 10 years. Although Bev is retiring from Great Valley, she is now employed through CRESS and plans to continue to support our Great Valley students and community. We are thankful for her desire to remain part of the Great Valley family. Students and teachers benefit from Bev's knowledge and dedication daily. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Some goodies for you.
Wow, thank you.
Okay, Sue. The second part of the dynamic duo from the French department. Sue started at Great Valley in 1978 with a 13-year break to raise her children before returning to Great Valley, and she has been with the high school for 27 years of service. Sue has taught both French and German over the years. German exploratory and level 1 were taught at the middle school, while French was taught at the high school. She has taught French levels 1 through 3 over her career. She is married to Richard, and they have 2 daughters, Valerie and Casey. Sue has a beautiful granddaughter named Mackenzie. Activities Sue has done for the district. She's participated in faculty weekly morning prayer groups, has co-organized many of the spring break study abroad trips along with Patricia, has attended countless 8th grade dances, junior and senior proms, has done a lot to support the Christian students and athletes at the high school supporting their activities and prayer groups. And she attends and cheers on the French students at our annual World Language Soccer Tournament. In the classroom, Sue has always incorporated music into her lessons in order to teach vocabulary and grammar. She is the loudest one to sing, even if it's out of tune. That was what was reported to me. She often seeks input and feedback from her colleagues to share ideas. She seeks out authentic materials such as music, news reports, commercials, and other items in order to help students connect with the way French is used again in our real world. And she frequently works with students before or after school. Congratulations, Sue, on your much-deserved retirement and your wonderful career. Okay, Beth Ritchie, come on down. Okay, Beth. So Beth started at the Great Valley Middle School back in 1998 and was there for 2 years. Beth has been at the high school since September of 2001. She has taught the following classes at our high school: Foundations of Drawing, 2D Studio Art, 2D AP Drawing, 3D Art Contract, 3D Studio Art, and 3D AP Art. Beth and her husband, Bruff, have 2 children. Their daughter, Hannah, graduated in Great Valley in 2007, and son, Ben, graduated from Great Valley in 2012. Beth also has a sister who teaches art up in Maine, and her dad is still alive, living in Malvern. Her students' work can often be seen in the high school main office and on display during the annual Spring Arts Festival, which is currently going on right now in the high school. I highly encourage you to stop by Thursday evening to see firsthand some of the exceptional 2D and 3D pieces that Beth Ritchie has inspired our students to create through her love of art and passion for teaching. Congratulations, Beth.
Okay. Our next retiree is one of our administrative assistants. She works here at the district office, Donna Agar. Donna, could you come up and join?
I'm glad I can't see her at the moment because there's probably faces. Hi, I'm Linnell Fitzmyer. I'm secretary in the superintendent's office. A quote by Flavia Whedon, which many of you may be familiar, states, "Some people come into our lives and quickly go. Some stay for a while, leave footprints in our heart, and we are never, ever the same." That some person is Donna Agar. I'm honored for this opportunity to speak on behalf of Donna. Donna was working as a substitute clerical aide in the district in 1955. No, excuse me, not that old. Sorry. 1995 and 1996. Typo. When the superintendent's office was looking for a part-time clerical aide. And checking with the personnel office, if there was anyone that might fit the bill, the immediate response was, "There's a substitute aide in the district, and in each building where she has worked, the staff were most pleased and eager to have her serve again in that capacity as a substitute." So Donna came to work as a part-time clerical aide in the superintendent's office for several years. and then her path led her outside of Great Valley until her return in 2003, where she served as the high school principal secretary for many years. While she was at the high school, she got to be there while some of her children graduated. Her husband and two of the children and some grandkids are here tonight. So if you hear Bopshi, that's who she is, Bopshi. In 2013, she decided working part-time would permit her time with those wonderful grandchildren. So she was willing to work in a part-time capacity, and I was fortunate enough to have her return to the superintendent's office once again. Donna is a doer, always willing to lend a hand and pitch in no matter the task, and a giver with such a servant's heart. She is always warm, welcoming, and thinking of others. Everybody knows Donna because she makes it a point to know you. And she made certain to get to know her fellow coworkers, staff members, as well as the many students at the high school. Her work ethic always went above and beyond with dedication to her task. She performed with efficiency and effectiveness, with skill and determination to make others shine. Donna is a dynamic and fun person with an engaging personality. She brings a smile and warmth and laughter whenever she enters a room. You usually know what room Donna is in. Being greeted by Donna is akin to a deep breath of fresh air on a beautiful spring day. There is no one like Donna. We worked hard, yet we found ways to enjoy the day and find laughter in it. In fact, many instances, we would be laughing so hard together, tears, and the former superintendents, as well as the current one, will come out of the office. What is going on? It's always fun when Donna is around. She is such a caring person with a heart for others and will be one of the first people with a phone call, a card, reaching out to express care and concern whenever a life situation impacts another. She desires to help carry the burdens that others are experiencing and to lighten their load and give them hope from her deep and abiding faith. I'm humbled to have this opportunity because the list and line would be long if others were given this opportunity. The stories and situations would vary, but one aspect would be the same: the impact Donna has had on all of them, how she has touched their lives in remarkable ways. There's the staff member who received news of cancer and Donna's caring embrace and sending the card week after week for encouragement and reminding them she was praying. It was Donna sitting in the hospital waiting room with the staff member as their precious child was undergoing life-threatening surgery. It was Donna going to the grocery store for a staff member who had just returned home after surgery and rehabilitation. Donna always had a welcoming spot at the high school for students and a listening ear for them. To this day, there are students who will reconnect with Mrs. Agard to share what's going on in their life because they know she will be a listening ear, a caring person, offering kindness and encouragement. Amazing, Donna didn't have to be in the classroom to make an impact on student lives. She did it her way. It's not the work that Donna completed for Great Valley that matters now or will matter in 100 years from now. Rather, it is the indelible mark, the palpable touch on the lives of people she has impacted, the difference she has made. That is what people will remember. That is her legacy. And we are all the better for having known her. If I could sit on a porch with God, I'd thank him for lending us you. Congratulations, Donna.
So as Donna's crying over there, I just want to say, with my board hat off as a parent in this district, Donna was in the high school while both my children were educated there. Donna was a phenomenal role model to our kids, no more of a caring person. And I am most grateful to each and every one of you for every day that you have dedicated to the students in Great Valley. Donna, you've made a big difference in a lot of kids' lives. Thank you.
Sorry if I
No, it was wonderful. Just want you to have that. Thank you. Okay. All right, we do have one more retirement to acknowledge. Before we do, because we are going to go right into the student piece, I am going to ask any students that are here for the recognition, we do have some administrators in the hallway, they're going to line you up and we have a flow to the student recognition. So I'm going to ask if there are any students in the room who are here for the recognition piece, if you could kindly right now, I'd like you to just kind of exit and you could go up the ramp and we'll get you all organized for the recognition piece in a couple of minutes, okay? All right. Thank you very much, appreciate that. All right. So Mr. Kyle Hammond is here, our principal at Sugartown, for our last retirement.
Good evening to all. Tonight for many of us is a challenging night because although we welcome the future with new opportunities and we get to interface with new people, there's always the sense of loss for those that we left behind and what we feel as though we're losing. And standing here tonight, I feel the same way. When I think about Mrs. Linda Salvitti, and she has labored at Sugartown in the role of instructional aide for us for a very long time. And when I think of Linda, strangely enough, I think of a mask, and that may seem strange on its surface, but if you give me a chance to explain, I will. Many of us have an assorted variety of masks that we wear during the course of a given day. Our professional masks, sometimes our parent mask, our child mask, our close friends mask, just to name a few. And depending on the situation, we all don the masks that we deem that are appropriate and we carry out the duties of the moment. And sometimes through doing that, we never quite understand who we are, or sometimes it's hard for other people to interpret who those individuals are as well, because of the constant quote-unquote shifting of personalities. And I believe it is a rare person whose mask is the same all the day through, and Linda is one of those individuals. Linda, quite frankly, is the same all the time. She's genuine, trustworthy, transparent, hardworking, dedicated, and empathetic. And as a leader, I can't tell you how much I appreciate these qualities in my colleagues and the people that I serve. And I also know that although I'm the principal of Sugartown during the day, there are situations that I encounter over the course of a given year that I don't always have the answers for, and I also need wisdom imparted unto me. And Linda was one of those people that I could go to as well, where wisdom many times crosses hierarchy. So on behalf of the Sugartown community, we'd like to thank Linda a wonderful retirement, and we thank her for a labor of love with the students, parents, and colleagues of the Great Valley and Sugartown community. And internally within our own school, we will miss her dearly, but we know that, again, this is just a farewell for now. So Linda, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for your kind and heartfelt words. I'd like, with our retirees that are still in the room, I don't know if someone could maybe grab Donna. I saw Donna run out, but I'd love to get one group photo of all of our retirees, and then we'll segue right into the student recognition. So do we have any retirees that are still here? Yep. Thanks. Well, I'm doing retirees. I'm not. Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
Yep. I'm not doing civil guy, but someone else is. Yeah, good. Sorry. All right. Steve, you can start the frame picture, get it ready. We'll get a few more. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to ask if Mrs. Kelly DeMillion would join me at the podium for a moment. One last teacher recognition, and then we'll move on to the students. This is a special one for me this evening, and I am very honored to share with you a little bit about Mrs. Kelly DeMillion. Kelly was named a few weeks ago the Great Valley Citadel Heart of Learning Award recipient. So she was named as the overall representative from all of Great Valley. And then last week, early May, we all attended a recognition ceremony where they named the elementary, middle school, and high school awardee. And this is out of 13 school districts and 2 charter cyber schools. So out of 15 districts, 1 elementary teacher, 1 middle school, and 1 high school teacher was awarded this recognition. And Kelly DeMillion was named the Great Valley Citadel Heart of Learning Award recipient, and then was honored as the Chester County Elementary Citadel Award recipient. I want to tell you a little bit about Mrs. DeMillion. If you don't know her, which I would be shocked because her name, she is well known throughout Chester County, I believe, for a variety of reasons. But Kelly has been working at General Wayne Elementary School in kindergarten for the past 13 years. And she has a favorite author that she likes to always read in her class and wear sweatshirts with his name on it, and it's Mo Willems. And one of the quotes he says is, "We create our work for children not because they're cute, but because they're human beings deserving of respect." Mrs. DeMillion definitely respects her children and students and models respect as well. She is the queen of the kingdom, as we like to call her, for countless royal students through learning to read, count, play, and share her enthusiasm and love of children that is evident in her many years as our kindergarten teacher. Parents repeatedly share with me that children have a special bond with Mrs. DeMillion. She knows just what to provide them and when to give it. When you visit the kingdom, you will see many special items and maybe even a wand or a crown. Mrs. DeMillion always goes above and beyond to provide an atmosphere full of opportunities for her students to learn all while having fun. You may hear her singing, dancing, or wearing a special outfit just to enhance the learning. And if any of you have been around at Halloween and you've seen the blue dress, I'm looking at Mrs. Gunderson, have you seen the blue dress? That's a sight to behold. She is a role model for the 6 pillars of character. She participates in school-wide presentations. Read Across America night, Mrs. DeMillion and Mr. Schaefer have a packed house. PTO family fun nights, sleepovers, and she is always willing to develop and support curriculum writing, activities, and literacy nights. I've had the pleasure to work and get to know Mrs. DeMillion for the past 13 years, and in that time, she has also been an important part of building our school climate at General Wayne. She has made a positive difference in the curriculum and school-based groups she's been involved with. As well as a member of the Great Valley family, Mrs. DeMillion also has developed relationships of respect with her peers. She generously shares her experiences and expertise and is willing to learn from and support colleagues, students, and parents in any way. Mrs. DeMillion also has strong family ties that extend to her daughters, Molly and Maggie, her sister, Colleen, and nephew, Connor, and niece, Kira, many relatives, including her aunts and uncles and cousins. And if you don't know this about Mrs. DeMillion, what she is probably just as popular for knowing is that family is important and it's the only thing that trumps her students in her life. In closing, I am truly blessed to stand before you and honor this amazing teacher. Our students and families are fortunate to have or had her as a teacher. She is a truly dedicated professional and caring and giving person. This award is well-deserved, and I am proud to be her principal and her friend. Thank you, Mrs. DeMillion, for serving the Great Valley students and families for the past 13 years. And here is to many more to come. Please join me in congratulating Chester County's elementary Citadel Heart of Learning.
Thank you. Photo op?
Photo op.
Side view?
Yep. Just make sure you're sending.
Oh, you're all? That's good. I like that shirt. That's sharp.
Thanks.
All right, well, Mr. Flick and I are going to be jumping into the secondary science research competitions, and we have a number of students, as you see here, lined up. So I'm going to start with the middle school students and just give you a quick little overview of what their project was and how they did in the Delaware Valley Science Fair. So I'd like to start with Brighton Risch, who was one of our sixth graders, and he was awarded a second place overall, finished in the behavioral and social science category at the Delaware Valley Science Fair. Brighton also previously won first place in the behavior and social science category that we're going to talk about in just a few minutes right after this. The second student that I'd like to acknowledge for the Delaware Valley is Nandini Bhatt. She's one of our eighth graders, and she was awarded third place in the consumer science category. And she also won previously as well a first place award in the consumer science category at the Chester County Science Fair, and we'll be talking about that as well in just a couple minutes. Mr. Flick?
From the high school, I'm proud to recognize 10th grader Kevin Guo, who was awarded first place in the microbiology category at the Delaware Valley Science Fair. He received the Science Buzz Foundation Award and was selected to participate in the Bio Genius Challenge in Pennsylvania. Kevin previously won earlier in the year first place in the microbiology category at the Chester County Science Research Competition. So congratulations, Kevin. Also from the high school, we have 11th grader Samir Tandon. Samir was awarded second place in the botany category at the Delaware Valley Science Fair. Samir also received several special awards: University of Sciences Annual Scholarship, USDA's Future Scientists Award, FMC Richard and Patty Smith Bright Ideas in Botany Award, and the ASU Rob and Melanie Walton Sustainability Solutions Initiatives Award. Samir earlier in the year previously won first place in the Richard and Patty Smith Botany Award and Best of Show at the Chester County Science Research Competition. Congratulations, boys.
Mr. Flick and I, would you like me just to read them, or? Because there's a bunch from here.
Yeah, my two already did.
You already did? All right, so I'd just like to jump back to the Rourke Adams Science Fair, in which some of these students ultimately qualified for the Delaware Valley. And Brighton was, again, as I mentioned, first place, best of show, and third place in the behavior science and social sciences. Suhani Mathur and Nithya Muli did a joint effort and earned a first place, as well as the Dow Chemical Award in the team category. And Nandini Bhatt, as I mentioned earlier, was first place in consumer science, and Anish Kudali was first place in microbiology. I think that's it. All right. Congratulations. Congratulations, boys. It's good to see you. Yeah, it's good to see you. Drop.
look at me first, and then we'll give time to your parents. Thank you. Okay, then you can look at the parents.
That's all you, Rob.
Thanks. My name is Pete Ruckelos. I'm the middle school computer applications teacher. I'm also the middle school VEX robotics mentor. We have 10 VEX robotics teams. We started robotics 5 years ago, not really knowing what we were doing. At least I didn't know what I was doing. And the kids, following the old teacher adage of fake it till you make it, I did a lot of faking in the first few years. The last couple of years, we really kind of hit our stride, and we've just got a really great group of kids in robotics at the current time. And it really culminated with what is really 4 of the nicest kids that I could ever imagine having done this thing that they've done for us, which is they were the Pennsylvania State VEX Robotics Champions in 2018, which earned them a trip to Louisville, Kentucky for the World Championships in VEX Robotics. If you like robotics, if you like robots, if you're a fan of geeky kids like I am, you should go sometime. It's pretty cool. Anyway, here they are. We have Troy Madden, Anthony, Nikhil Cote, and Nandini Bhatt.
This is the robot body.
Stay there with your parents. Stomach and
Really one.
Dave, could we just take a minute? I know it adds, but could one of the kids just tell us what it is they bring? We don't usually get to see the pieces, so if, even right from there, just let us know what you're holding.
Alright, so this is our robot, and what it does, is it will pick up these heavy bases right here. Yeah, so these are about 3 pounds. They're pretty heavy for a robot. So we get to pick these up, and then we'll be able to stack these yellow cones during a match, and they will go on the logo, and then we get to score them in any zone that we want. So yeah.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Each year the challenge is different, so this isn't something that they can just say, hey, we did the same thing last year, so let's just make it better. This isn't football or baseball. Every year
The game is different, challenges are different. The engineering, the creative thinking, the sportsmanship and the teamwork that they need to show is really a big part of what they do.
So I guess my question is, did you enjoy it? Yes. Awesome, that matters. Thank you.
Congratulations, everybody. Good job. Good job.
Go stand up front. Be proud. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Henry McCluskey. I'm the advisor for the FBLA Club. Up front, we have David Nemeth. He didn't get the memo about staying home and studying for the APs and all of the finals that are coming up. So he's our lone representative out of, I guess it's 10 tonight. But thank you for allowing me to honor the students of the Great Valley Future Business Leaders of America Club. The GVFBLA Club has been recognized as one of the premier student activities offered at Great Valley for its charitable work and academic prowess. This year, students did a great job putting in numerous hours of volunteering and raising money for various charities. Along with making a difference in the community, our members rigorously pushed themselves intellectually by participating in regional, state, and national competitions. Once again, the Great Valley students made the district proud. We sent 40 students to the regional competitions, where 37 placed in the top 5. Out of that 37, 28 were invited to the state competition. At the state competition, Great Valley High School had 10 students placed in the top 10. Here's our top 10 winners. Brenda Wong took 4th place, Business Law. Alan Zhu, 3rd place, Personal Finance. Christopher Yee, 4th place, Networking Concepts. Amish Sini, 4th place, Introduction to Information Technology. David Nemeth, 1st place, State Champion, Introduction to Business Procedures. Noah Harrigan, 1st place, State Champion in Introduction to Business Communications. Consuelo Lee, 10th place, Agribusiness. John Lee, 5th place, Introduction to Business. Luke Liu, 9th place, Introduction to Business Procedures. And finally, Julie O, 9th place in Introduction to Business Communications. The students who placed in the top 4 in their state event are invited on to the Nationals being held in Baltimore, Maryland on June 29th. As of today, Christopher Yee, Alan Zhu, Amish Sini, David Nemeth, and Noah Harrigan will be representing Great Valley High School at the National Leadership Conference and Academic Competition. As our advisor, I'm very proud of him, and I'm just hoping for some gold medals this summer.
Good evening. I get the pleasure tonight to speak about the Great Valley High School Academic Competition Team. Our Quiz Bowl team competes in many competitions throughout the year, including the Chester County Academic League. The past 2 years, the Great Valley team has won the Chester County Academic League. These are the first 2 championships in school history. Last year, the team went to the state tournament and lost in the state finals. This year, the team went back to states, competing against 22 other schools from around the state, and defeated all of their opponents en route to the state championship. The team's captain, Sam Scarfone, was named the Chester County Academic League Player of the Year, was named first team All-State for the 2nd consecutive year, and will represent Pennsylvania at the National All-Star Academic Tournament later this summer. The team also competes in outside events, including the National History Bowl, where both the varsity and junior varsity team made it to the national playoffs. And the varsity team will be headed to the high school national championships this coming weekend, as well as the following weekend. Most of the team could not make it, but they did send one delegate to take the awards on their behalf. So the members of the team include Evan Aho, who is here tonight, Bobby Appelian, Daniel Chen, Thomas Cox, Christopher Meehan, Mark Neary, and Sam Scarfone. Great job, guys. My name is Kurt Balderson. I teach in the business department at the high school. I would like to congratulate two of my students tonight, Brad Allen and Anna Miller, for taking grand prize in this year's Westchester University Business Idea competition and winning a total of $4,000 prize money. The annual Business Idea Competition is hosted by the Entrepreneurial Leadership Center at Westchester University. It's their version of a mini Shark Tank. The competition promotes creativity, idea generation, and entrepreneurship by recognizing innovative ideas for new products, services, and technology. Ideas were reviewed by investors, entrepreneurs, and business advisors. Brad and Anna earned their spot in the competition by taking first place amongst the track for Chester County High School students. Brad and Anna pitched their product, Speakeasy, a sign language translation app, against 355 other people having 190 other business ideas. What is particularly impressive is that they beat out all Chester County High School students, Westchester University undergraduate students, Westchester University graduate students, and Chester County-based startups. An amazing accomplishment by Brad and Anna, and a great honor and exposure for Great Valley School District by taking the grand prize in the very first time we entered this competition. Congratulations, Brad and Anna, for a job well done.
Good evening. I'm Heidi Capitola, one of the assistant principals at Great Valley High School. I have with me junior Nandini Krishnan, and she was elected Lieutenant Governor of District 22 for the Pennsylvania Key Club, and she also received the Outstanding Board Member Award at the PA Key Club District Convention. For those of you who don't know, Key Club is a service organization for high school students which operates under school regulations and draws its members from the student body. Key Club is a unique organization because it is sponsored by a local Kiwanis club composed of the leading business and professional people in the community. And we're really proud to have a leader in Nandini.
The National Merit Scholarship Program recognizes students for their outstanding academic potential after taking the PSAT National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. Of some 1.5 million program entrants, the field is narrowed down to 50,000 of the highest scoring participants in the United States. From the 50,000, 16,000 students will be named National Merit semifinalists. I am pleased to announce and recognize this evening that all 13 of our Great Valley High School National Merit semifinalists advanced to finalist standing in the 2018 competition. With the other 8,000 finalists in the United States, all 13 Great Valley High School students are now eligible for merit scholarship money this spring. Please join me in recognizing the finalists. And with us tonight, we have Daniel Kincaid III, Connor Malloy, and Talia Piconis. Unable to make it tonight was Carol Cow, Daniel Chen, Brenda Wang, Blaine Huey, Topeka Kathapkapka, Consuelo Lee, Christopher Meehan, Sam Scarfone, David Wang, and Jillian Yu. So 13 finalists for Great Valley.
That concludes this recognition for this evening. If anybody would like to leave, you're welcome to leave. Or you can stay if you want.
Thank you so much for your patience.
All right, next thing up on our agenda is the Chester County IU report. Excuse me.
The IU is working to finalize the marketplace budget. We'll vote on that in June. Other than that, the work is moving along. It was a rather long board meeting just because of the amount of work to do between now and that vote.
All right, thank you. Legislative report.
Legislative report. We
Mike.
have the legislative breakfast
Microphone.
back on. Oh, that would help, wouldn't it? We had the legislative breakfast at the intermediate unit back on April 20th. It was well attended, but disappointingly, it was not well attended by local legislators. So if you are in conversation with any of your local legislators, please impress upon them that it really is incumbent upon them and really imperative to be engaged in the discussions that are related to education. It really is an important time in education. There's a lot going on. And it was just a little disheartening not to have them there to share their thoughts and opinions with us. So starting today, the legislature will be off and running, albeit very slowly, towards the June 30th final budget. This time frame, which things get very interesting in Harrisburg, things move at a fast pace. It's a little terrifying at times too, because we don't know what the final budget and final outcomes of things will be. And that kind of coincides with the same time that our budget has to be finalized and our fiscal year comes to a close. The Senate comes back on Monday for 3 session days, and the House returns for 3 session days starting on Tuesday. After next week, they break for a week before returning to Harrisburg for sessions every week in June, or until things get done. While there may not have been any official meetings about the contents of an omnibus school code bill, or if there will even be one, in fact, conversations are swirling and legislation and policies are being lined up for discussion. In addition, conversations about school safety as a component of the 2018-19 budget continue forward, along with discussion about career and technical education, charter school tuition, school construction, and about 1,000 extra education-related items. So the biggest concern right now is State Bill 2, which is regarding vouchers or ESAs. ESAs are educational savings accounts. And they are going to be considering this tomorrow. This is going to the Senate Education Committee tomorrow. So this is kind of a big deal. It doesn't necessarily, or you might intuitively think it doesn't affect Great Valley, but it does. So just to go into it a little bit. The Senate Bill 2 is sponsored by Senator DeSanto, a Republican from Dauphin County. It provides ESAs, or those educational savings accounts, to students in the attendance boundary of low achieving schools, schools at the bottom 15% of all district schools based on math and reading scores. That doesn't mean low achieving school districts. It means any school within a district that is low achieving, even if it's a high achieving district. It also applies to students entering kindergarten or first grade, regardless of whether they are in attendance of the boundary of a low achieving school. So an ESA could be set up for any kindergarten or first grade student, regardless of what district or school they're assigned to. These students can use the money in their ESAs to attend private schools. The money to fund these ESAs is deducted from the resident school district state subsidies. So state money is going to fund private education through this. It's the first step, but it is a slightly concerning step for public education. On the most fundamental level, this bill provides public taxpayer funding to private schools with no state oversight or regulation and no transparency. One of the biggest concerns people have is with charter schools, not necessarily charter schools, but cyber charter schools, where the restrictions are very loose. You know, the guidelines are not as strong as they are in a bricks and mortar charter school. The bill does nothing to address low achieving schools and instead encourages students to attend schools that cannot even be judged based on their achievement. The bill undermines the district's ability to focus on improving low-achieving schools by redirecting valuable resources out of the district, resulting in a race to the bottom for students remaining in that district. So the bill does have the capacity to impact all 500 districts in the Commonwealth, making all entering kindergartners and first graders eligible for these ESAs. So at the technical level, this bill allows students to continue in the ESA program even though they no longer reside in the attendance boundary of a low-achieving school. Once they're in the program, they stay in the program even if a school improves or the student moves out of the district. So you could be in a very poor performing school and have that ESA, and if you move to Great Valley, you still have that ESA, and those funds come out of Great Valley's state subsidies. The bill allows special education students to receive additional ESA money based on the school district's Act 16 categorization of the student, even though the school district has no ability to determine the special education needs or costs of a student at a non-public school or evaluate whether services are even provided. The bill contains no timeline, no guidelines, no notification provisions for notification of a school district when a student becomes part of the ESA program, denying school districts the ability to budget appropriately or even predict the impact of this program on the budget from year to year. And if you watch what we go through as a board trying to, plan appropriately and judiciously for upcoming years, this would make it even harder. The bill requires school districts to transport students to non-public schools within a 10-mile radius, which is likely to further increase transportation costs for all impacted districts. So as this thing moves forward, please do keep an eye on it. Reach out to your local legislators, those who represent you, and let them, know your thoughts and opinions on this. It really is important. It could potentially shape, change the landscape for public education in a very negative way. Thank you.
Mary, who's sponsoring the bill? Have we gone on record, Regina, in any way with this bill?
As a member of the Chester County Superintendents Group, we have, as a district, we can certainly look at a resolution. This bill, to my understanding, is moving rather quickly, which is why we acted upon it as a superintendents group.
It is moving rather quickly, and it's actually being pushed. I would really like to take a minute to talk about that. If there's one that we should be doing a board resolution on, it's this bill. So I would like to, Mary, if you're okay with that, we'd like to talk about maybe doing that, a resolution.
I fully agree with that. I also just want to add for the public that tomorrow it's in the Education Committee, and Senator Dinniman, who is our state senator for many of us, is on that committee. So I don't know his position, but he's on the committee, and he represents many of us. So you can reach out to him if you feel it's important to.
I believe what we could do is have language to support a resolution and move it to vote tonight, and then it's just in opposition of Senate Bill 2 would be the resolution.
Anybody have a problem with that? Okay, let's do it.
Thank you. It's a great thing.
All right, I'm ready for more fun. So how about Katie Markley?
And thank you so much, students, for your patience. I know that could not have been easy.
Hi, I'm Gia Patel, the KDM Service Council President.
Hi, I'm Andy McLeese, the KDM Service Council Vice President.
Hi, I'm Amy Dill, the KDM Service Council Secretary.
KDM has been very busy this year, completing many projects and events since we last saw you. We have been working hard to make our community and school a better place. During the month of March, we had a food drive for the People's Pantry at Church Road. Each grade collected different items to help out the Chester County Food Bank. Kindergarten collected grains and rice, first grade collected pasta, second grade collected cereal, third grade collected canned vegetables, fourth grade collected canned fruits, fifth grade collected canned tuna and chicken, and the teachers collected peanut butter. As a school, we collected 380 pounds of food for our community members in need. We are very thankful for the contributions of our KDM families.
In April, we celebrated Dr. Seuss's birthday by having a door decorating contest. Every class decorated their door to fit the theme of reading. We also passed around the Golden Book. When the Golden Book arrives at your classroom, you stop everything and read for 15 minutes. This is a fun KDM tradition that will be continued into the future.
In April, we celebrated National Poetry Month by having a Poem in Your Pocket Day. The whole school participated by writing or finding poems to put in their pocket. If a teacher asked you to read your poem, they gave you a ticket. All tickets were put in a raffle basket, and winners from each grade won a prize. We had a very fun and successful day, and KDM is excited for next year's Poem in Your Pocket Day.
April was Autism Awareness Month. We celebrated this month by talking about friendship and creating beautiful trees throughout the building. Each student at KDM decorated a puzzle piece in bright colors. These colorful puzzle pieces were formed into trees in every hallway. The trees showed the uniqueness of autistic children in our school and around the world.
On May 4th, we had our annual Ktm Field Day. The theme this year was Star Wars. Kindergarten through 5th grade and teachers played in the fun activities. This year was special for the 5th graders because we got to participate in the tug of war. Field Day ended with dancing and ice pops. Although the day was all for fun, Orange ended up winning with the most points. All 3 of us were on the Orange team this year, so we're very happy.
The Service Council made cards for a former KDM student who was involved in a skiing accident. The cards were meant for him to recover and cheer him up. We are glad that he is doing well and happy that we could support him. Our final project for the school year is collecting items for the SPCA shelter. Ktm families are donating dog toys, cat toys, treats, blankets, collars, and more. The donations are helping animals without homes.
We have had lots of fun this year, helping our community and our school. KDM Service Council has been a great opportunity to be good citizens and demonstrate the KDM pillars of character. We are excited to participate and support the Student Council next year at Great Valley Middle School.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and you guys can grab your parents and leave, because you've been very patient, and we appreciate it. Thank you. All right, next thing on the agenda is other reports, and I think we have a report from the technology meeting.
The Instructional Technology Subcommittee met on Tuesday, May 15th. 3 current high school students met with us, 10th grader Isaiah Cunningham and 9th graders Marley Oliva and Shrey Panda joined the meeting to share their perspectives about the one-to-one program and to answer some questions from the board and administration. The students shared how they are using the various apps on the iPad as they apply to their classes. Isaiah shared a promotional video he created with the iPad for GVTV's Good Morning Great Valley using the GarageBand and iMovie. It was a pretty amazing video. We should probably put a link on the website for this. It's pretty great. It was a rap, and he was selling stress balls. It was almost a professional commercial. And Marley and Shay talked about how Canvas is used by teachers to communicate with students about assignments and due dates. While the use of Canvas varies from teacher to teacher, the students agreed that they think Canvas is a great tool for them. Some feedback that they had during the meeting was that although the school email account is available to them, students don't use it, and that they prefer using Canvas for submitting assignments over email. The students indicated that the iPad itself was very reliable, but on occasion, the connectivity in the high school was not as reliable. They discussed some of the connectivity issues they've had in their classes and talked about the support in the tech office that could be improved. I thought some of these issues were very interesting for us because it's a big program for us, and we want to make sure we're supporting it and make sure it's successful. So those are some things we could look into in the future. The students said that they enjoyed the fact that the iPad was lightweight and portable, and that it was able to replace some of their textbooks, and that they were grateful for that. The committee is discussing changing up our meeting schedule for this year.
All right, thank you. Any other reports there?
I just want to say that I was in attendance with 2 of our colleagues at the Citadel Heart of Learning banquet. It truly was an amazing night to be there to support Kelly DeMillion, not only Kelly, but all the other teachers that Kelly actually took the award for. It was an amazing, amazing night for Great Valley. It was a packed room. Every district that was in that room was hoping that their finalist was going to win, and it was Great Valley's teacher that won. So it was an amazing night. We have some amazing talent, and I truly am grateful to have had the opportunity to be there and represent the board. So just wanted to say that.
All right, thank you very much. All right, student representative report. It's dwindling down here.
So like I've been beginning with is the numbers. There are 8 days for seniors left, and there are exactly 18 days until graduation. So I know some teachers may be counting, but the seniors are definitely counting. However, there have been a lot of great things going on Great Valley. Last week alone, we had the senior dinner on Wednesday night, which was a success with Cade Reed winning a little Keurig for his dorm room in the future. There was also the senior awards night, which was an outstanding experience, especially for myself, because I like to see all my fellow classmates and their outstanding accomplishments. And then lastly was senior prom on Friday at Franklin Commons, and I'm sure everyone had a fantastic time. And now things that are coming up in the future, it's concert season. So the high school band concert is the 22nd, which is tomorrow. I highly recommend everyone go, and I'm going to try to go for at least a little bit. And then we have Tuesday of next week, which is the 29th, is the choir concert, and then Wednesday on the 30th is the orchestra concert. There's also Keystones are going on right now, and I have a freshman little brother, and he seems like he's not too overwhelmed with it. He seems like he's having a good time. If not, he's just recovering by playing some video games at home. And last thing for the seniors is going on is June 1st, which is a Friday. We'll be going to visit all of our middle school teachers and our elementary school teachers, and a lot of students are excited for that one also. So the time's whirling down, but we are very excited for what's coming in the future.
Excellent.
Chuck, is it too much to ask for minutes and seconds till graduation? Just kidding.
He could probably tell you. Just math. All right, Superintendent's Report.
Every month, we get an opportunity to highlight amazing things that are happening in our schools with our staff and our children. And if nothing else that we can't tell by this evening alone, wow, we are surrounded by incredible talent, passion, and dedication. So this is just a snippet, as we usually say. In our first highlight, the high school senior, Sam Francis Kesty, has received an appointment to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, class of 2022. Sam will also be competing on the West Point tennis team. And just a little add-on, our tennis team came in second in the state over the weekend, and it was very, very exciting. They qualified Friday night, rushed back to quickly shower to get to the prom, and then woke up bright and early Saturday morning to return to Hershey for a first competition at 10 o'clock, which they did very well, and final competition was at 3 o'clock. So they are second in the state, amazing. Next, UB the Chemist, and you can see congratulations to middle school student Alan Sun, who placed third at the state UB the Chemist competition, sponsored by Chemical Educational Foundation. UB the Chemist programs are designed to enhance K-8 science education by introducing the central role of chemistry in all of the sciences and in our everyday lives. In the K-12 National Chess Championship, congratulations to our Katie Markley second grader, Varshith Donna Paul. He is the National Chess High School Championship. Yes. Varshith won the K-12 National Chess Championship held in Ohio and received a trophy in the top 25 out of 300 participants. Out of 7 rounds, Varshith won 5. Amazing. That's why I needed to stress the fact that he is in second grade. Our Special Olympic athletes on May 3rd, the track and field's fun day for Special Olympics was held in Chester County. Over 1,200 students from Chester County life skills classes participated, and many of our Great Valley students placed and came home with many, many ribbons and medals. It was a great day. Congratulations to Kylie Melia, Quinn Tobin, and Lexi Shembry, Charlestown 5th grade students who were in second place at the CCIU Student Invention Convention. The competition was open to students in grades 4 through 8, and it invited them to use design thinking, creativity, and problem-solving skills to prototype an invention that will make the world a better place. And the students created a doghouse with an automatic water and food dispenser that will make the world a better place. Chester County Forensics Public Speaking Tournament. On Tuesday, May 14th, Great Valley Middle School students competed in the Forensics Public Speaking Tournament. Raya Kinney earned 3rd place honors in oratory category. Victoria Capitano earned 4th place honors in the poetry category, and Katie Hamlin finished in 6th place in the original poetry and prose category. All presentations centered around Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement, which was the focus for this year. Our Great Valley Middle School student council members, 29 of them attended the Pennsylvania Association of Student Councils Region F Conference hosted by Bala-Cynwyd Middle School on May 15th. Students participated in leadership training seminars and collaborated with over 400 other students. Congratulations to the members of the Great Valley Middle School Quiz Bowl team who competed at the NAQT National Championship Tournament in Chicago. Nohan Greenways, Anish Kadoli, Rahul Nayani, and Prithvi Paratharathi tied for an impressive 33rd place finish after battling for 2 days against nearly 200 of the best teams in the nation. Amazing experience for our students. Great Valley High School collaborated with State Farm Insurance and Paoli Hospital once again to host a mock crash and cruising smart presentation for members of the junior class. The presentations were held prior to the junior prom and addressed the hazards of distracted or impaired driving. Great Valley Middle School teacher Matt Ellis took a group of 27 students to Vanguard to explore careers in computer science. The students learned about how Vanguard is incorporating new technologies into their business. Students participated in breakout groups where they were able to see a variety of career paths in computer science, including software design, network security, and more. It was a great experience for our students, and a special thank you to Mr. Ellis. The junior prom was held on April 28th at the Chester Valley Country Club. The after prom was an adventure awaits theme at the high school. And it is a lot of amazing hours and dedication for the volunteers who made the after prom a wonderful experience for our students. Senior prom, as was mentioned by Mr. Beauclair, was held on Friday evening, May 18th at the Franklin Commons in Phoenixville. Our students looked amazing, and I heard had a wonderful time. Kenneth Morris and Miss Melissa Claus, both are honored, maintenance coordinator and purchasing coordinator. They were accepted into the first Emerging Leaders Summit. Ken and Missy were nominated to attend the Summit of Business Administrators in the Pennsylvania Association of Business Officials. As part of the summit, they will openly discuss strategic leadership, strategic vision, innovation, communication, and how that will help, including leading the boss and emotional intelligence. Finally, we can get into, as Tyler had shared, some of the spring concerts coming up. If you are interested in any kinds of entertainment, you will be wonderfully surprised and entertained by our number of spring concerts. In addition, our upcoming events, we have our Charlestown Kindergarten Orientation on May 22nd, Adventure Meet the Scientists at 6:30 at the middle school. That will be, our guests will be those from Teva Pharmaceuticals. May 23rd, we have Field Day and the School Board Facilities Committee. That is at the district office at 6 o'clock. It's also for your entertainment. May 24th, the Middle School National Junior Honor Society induction. And as was mentioned, the Spring Arts Festival. May 25th, Sugartown Field Day. May 28th, just a reminder, there is no school. Unless somebody is lonely and they need to show up, just send us an email and be happy to help file and such. Upcoming events, and they're there for the public to come and enjoy us and the wonderful things going on in the district. An announcement that will be shared via email as well, but for those of you who lasted through the meeting, June 12th will be our last student day, and that will be a half day for students. Thank you.
Glad you lasted to hear that stuff.
Yes.
All right, that completes our presentation section. now going to shortly enter the voting section of the meeting. We'll open up the meeting, or the podium for public comment on any of the voting agenda items that are listed. If you have a comment, please come to the podium, state your name and residency. Please limit your time to 3 minutes or less in case others would like to speak. And I just want to make sure everybody's clear. It's for public comment. It's not a question and answer session. There will be another public comment section at the end of the meeting for any other items not on the agenda for voting this evening. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I don't have to play with this tonight. There are 3 items that are coming up. I'm sorry, Bill Dwyer, 10 Stewart Drive, East Whiteland. There are 3 items coming up for voting tonight. And I hope I have the outline here right. They're coming up for payments. One is Green Psych for Dr. Mitchell Green. Second is Be Part of the Conversation. And the third is, I only remember his name, Kevin Flanagan. I couldn't find it the last time on. All of those items, all of those payments that you're looking to make right now are for items that were previously, or things that were previously done. These should not be approved by the board. It's against the law to be doing business like this, and it's time for the school district to stop this. So I urge everybody on the board tonight to vote this down. Whatever you do, you cannot listen to Ellen Burrell's explanation from last week because she's totally incorrect. These items are against the law. It's time for Great Valley to get this squared away. If somebody comes to us with a program that needs special approval, they need to be told that they can't get it in time unless you want to hold some kind of a special meeting. So I urge you to vote all of those items down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Roxanne Cockerham, East Whiteland. I wanted to just make a brief comment about the agreement with the Teachers Association. I can't remember the exact wording of
I'm going to have to ask you to wait till the end, because we're
Okay.
not voting on the teachers' agreement tonight.
Okay.
Unless you're commenting on the MOU that we're voting on this evening.
It's
Just a general comment about the
it's
teachers'
a
agreement.
general comment
Yeah.
about the teachers.
If you could wait till the end. Thank you.
You got it.
Bruce Chambers on James Thomas Road. A couple of months ago, maybe it was last month, I mentioned to the board that on the consent agenda items like we have tonight, that there was no documents attached to them for the public to see before the meeting or during the meeting. And I waited to see if some favorable response would come from the board. It didn't. 2 weeks ago, when you had your working session, there were no documents attached to it. So I filed a right to know request asking for all 15 or 17 of those things so that I could have them before the meeting. I filed that on Monday last week. Today I got a response, which was nice, and but I didn't get it until about 4 o'clock this afternoon through email, and I'm getting to it in a minute. And I wasn't able to look at all the things I wanted to because I didn't see it until dinner time. The email I got also said that the items would be placed on the agenda for tonight, and that really wasn't on there until about 6:30 tonight, so nobody in the public could see them either. So I hope that in the future, those things will be posted that way. I appreciate it being done, but it needs to be done in plenty of time so the public can see them. And that is something that doesn't make sense, why you're having a public participation when you can't even know what we're supposed to address. In regards to the items, I have 3 items, the same items that that were just mentioned. There were 3 contracts that were already executed, signed. I believe they were signed by the superintendent or some other supervisor in the school district. The board didn't approve them, and as I mentioned in an email to the board, according to your own policies, The board has to approve all contracts over $100. In this case, that wasn't done. So not only was it against the policy, but the policy is based upon the state law, and I would suggest that you're also violating the state law. So I would also say that those 3 agreements that were mentioned, the Kevin Flangen professional agreement, be part of the conversation agreement, and the Green Psych agreement that were already conducted and already paid, that you would vote against those. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amit Kohli, Atwater. I want to make a general comment on the teachers' negotiation, but I just want to make the comment on the MOU that the board should approve it and keep working on the negotiation. So I just request the board to approve it and move it forward. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Seeing no other public comments, we'll now move into the voting section of the meeting. Today, we sought some legal advice on the 3 items that were mentioned by a couple of the public participation. Do you want to summarize what we were given?
Actually, we went back and looked at a historical perspective to deem the worthiness of contracts that are, or actually agreements that are implemented prior to board approval. And there's actually conflicting information, not conflicting, but I believe the School Code of 1949 and the bill that follows it, there's actually a threshold of $18,000, which is the threshold for approvals. We did seek legal counsel just to make sure that there was no violation. And going back, I believe for the last, and Mr. Linderman would probably have much more of a historical data, but this is a frequent practice, and it is the no payments can be made prior to board approval, and that's what you're actually approving, the payments being made, not the initiation. That said, I do believe it is best practice that whenever possible to share that information as soon as possible. So what you'll notice, for example, there is something added from last week to this week at the high school because an opportunity came up for our high school students to be provided next week. So it will be voted on prior to, but it was not as advance notice as we would like. So again, we're going to continue to work hard to notify as soon as possible, but I just wanted to clarify, we did seek legal counsel just to make sure that there was nothing that would violate school code or the law.
And his comment was that these contracts could be voted on and paid even at this point, even though such services could have already been rendered. If we turn them down, we won't pay it. And the person who, or parties that were involved with the arrangement could be potentially held for those fees, correct?
Right.
So,
that would have to be a process that we would have to initiate next.
So, I need the dots connected here. So what you're saying is the 2 people that stand at our podium and are telling us that what we've been doing is illegal and are urging us to not do it again tonight are incorrect based on our legal opinion that we've gotten back. Is that what we're saying, basically?
Yes, based on our legal advice, we were told we were within the boundaries of the law to vote on these contracts this evening. And what we've been doing was fine also.
Thank you.
But I do think that just taking away that, hey, the earlier notice that we can give, just exactly what you said, just echoing that, I think I agree. I don't want to speak on behalf of other board members, but thank you for that, and let's always try to do better.
I think there's something everybody needs to remember. There's times, such as we were talking about an example today, where 2 years ago, when we had a lot of snow, our 2 snow removal contractors could not clear our parking lots. And our superintendent was fortunate enough to come across a few gentlemen who had a lot of big front-end loaders and arranged that they could come that evening and clear the parking lots at the high school and the middle school so that we could open school the next day. If they had not done that, and we had to wait for a contract to be approved, we would not have opened school the next day, and it would have impacted students. So there are definitely situations, and why our council has said that this is not out of normal and outside the boundaries of the law. And I also believe, Chuck, if I'm correct, that $18,000 is inflationary driven, correct? So it goes up every year? Is that not, I think is what he said?
Yes, it deals
roughly
with, it
$18,000.
deals with contracts and things like that. So it is a practice that we've had. I went back as far as early 2010, and even in those years, this practice was done.
And I can tell you that I've been sitting on this board for over 6 years, some of the time. Bruce Chambers sat here also, and we have always operated in the exact same fashion that we are operating right now when it comes to that issue.
And I'm glad that we're getting legal advice, but just speaking for myself, I like to keep the money for students and salaries and electricity. I would much rather do those things than pay lawyers, as fabulous as they all are. So I'm glad we did it, but I really, really hope that we can work things out without needing to get lawyers involved at every step. I want the money to be spent in the schools, as many do.
Understand, and we do try to minimize that as much as possible, so. Yep. All right, so the first thing up is the consent agenda item, so do I have a motion for 7.01 through 7.21 or something else?
Move to approve.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second for approvals of 7.01 through 7.21. Any questions or comments?
Yes, I think that 7.20 was added since the working session. It's around IT technicians, from what I can understand. It's pretty long. It lists all different levels of technicians, and I'm just curious to understand if this is a company we've used before, is it just a renewal? And I don't even know if there's a total value of the services, it's just an ongoing contract. So just a brief explanation.
Yes, it is a renewal. It's our contracted computer technicians. So there's like 5 of them, I believe, on there. There's 1 for each.
So it's more of a statement of work with hourly rates than an actual, okay, thank you. Yep, thank you.
And it wasn't available last week, that's why it was just added for this week, so we could get it approved. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor? All right, motion passes 8-0. All right, next thing up is, we'll take these, I guess, one by one. Motion for approval for 8.01, which is the Memorandum of Understanding between the Great Valley School Board and the Great Valley Education Association. Have a motion?
Move to approve.
And a second. Any questions? All right, this, again, this was a Memorandum of Understanding, for anybody who wasn't here last week, between the board and the school district. There's a more in-depth summary on the website, but if in August, the school board and the union have not reached an agreement, we have both agreed to move to what's called fact-finding. And at that point, an independent arbitrator will oversee discussion between the union and the school board as a fact-finding, and then present a non-binding recommendation. And again, if you have more questions, there's more details on the website. All right, so we have a motion and a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. All right, awarding of a bid for water line replacement at the high school / middle school complex. Do I have a motion for approval of 8.02?
Move to approve.
Second? Excuse me.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question. What is the current state of the water line and its need for replacement at this point?
Yeah, and we talked about this last week at the work session. But the state of the water line is very frail. It's on a, we hope this doesn't break before the bid gets awarded and started. We do have some concerns with, this bid was open last Wednesday. It was a little higher than we thought. We had adjusted the budget, as we told you last week, from 250 to 300,000. It came in at, there were only two bids. One was 338, and one which is the accepted one, or is the one the consultants are recommending, and the other one was for 352, I believe. I didn't open it up. So the water line needs to be replaced. We've been told this for a long time. It's frail. It's original water line, so this predates my working here. Yeah, really. So,
Can I hit you with a question? So you mentioned there were two bids, and it was a fairly quick process. Is it worth waiting and trying to get more bids, or this needs to be done?
well, we actually had 5 people at the pre-bid meeting, and only 2 chose to bid for whatever reason. It may be work and things like that. The problem is that we need to do this work in the summertime when no one's there, because it will close the back driveway, and there will be a tremendous, and as Ken, who probably left if he was smart, will tell you, we're actually going to cause some major delays on Phoenixville Pike for a few weeks or a month. So the summertime, from our personal standpoint, is the best time to do that, not when school's in session, as I'm sure Mr. Beauclair would tell you about driving on Phoenixville Pike when school's coming in or out. Imagine it being one lane, which is essentially what it could be for a certain period of time there. But they're working with PennDOT right now on that. It's one of the big hoops we got to jump through to get this done. We told you last week, it cannot go back down out through the driveway to 401 because it would require building a new bridge, which would almost double the cost of the project because of the going over that exceptional value stream. So we're making a right turn down the back driveway and out across the softball field to Phoenixville Pike and right down into the middle of the water line there. So to answer the question is, I wish we could rebid it and get it cheaper. The problem will be is if that process will take a few months, and then we'll be into the school year. And if it does break, then we'll have to do an emergency one where you will pay higher. So.
And about how much higher? Like, we talking double, triple,
I'd have to get the
quadruple?
consultants to tell us on that, but just mobilizing things, you don't have the beauty of a competitive bid. So we at least had 2 bids. They were relatively close to each other, so we weren't, it wasn't, one was 250,000 and one was 700,000. You kind of wonder. They were very close, so that's another reason why we chose to go forward with this and not have a problem down the road. The best thing could happen is nothing happens and we get it fixed and it's all done and no one has to hear about it. The worst thing is we don't do it and something happens and
Chuck, also, we did go out for bid, and we only got 2 people who were interested in bidding. So there's no guarantee that if we go out for bid again, we're going to do any better than getting 2. So it's kind of like a crapshoot. And that work has been on the facilities prospectus ever since I've sat on that facilities committee. So it's gone on 6 years it's needed to be done.
Yes.
All right, any other questions on it? All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Next up is approval for a contract for video conference at the Great Valley High School.
This is what I had shared with you. This is new. We did not share it last week because it was not available last week. And I just want to thank Mr. Flick and the English department. This is an author who is going to Skype in. It's actually a book that they're reading in the honors English class. And the author will Skype into the classroom and speak with the students. And this is the contract for that to happen.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. All right, next thing up is election of treasurer. I'll turn to our board secretary. Did we get any interest?
Just Mrs. Gunderson.
Mrs. Gunderson, all right.
And just to ask Phil, are you interested in doing it another year? Okay. And I'm also, anybody else on the board interested? Because I'm more than happy not to take this on seriously. And I did, my first year on the board 6 years ago, I did step into the vice president role. So the fact that you guys are new doesn't mean that you're not worthy and ready. So if anybody has any inclination at all, I would be happy to throw you my sport.
All right, do we have a motion for staff?
I would like to make a motion to the board to approve Stephanie Gunderson as the treasurer.
Whoops. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? I think it's a great idea.
I'd like to make a comment. Steph, you've chaired multiple committees, and you've really done a great job. The chair committee has a tough job. You don't support your own agenda. You actually do the work of the majority votes on the board, and you have come about to be able to be a master at that. So I would just like to throw that out.
All right, any other comments? All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Congratulations.
Congrats.
All right, next up is approval for a contract for safety protocols, consideration in suicide risk and threat assessments.
This is another contract that was, and I want to thank Dr. Wexler for bringing this this talent and this skill to our staff. This is to do internal suicide risk and threat assessments. So what that means is our staff will be trained that when we have students in need, in lieu of reaching out and needing to call in crisis to do threat assessments, our staff will have the ability to do that. So this will really be a proactive approach as we move forward with issues of mental health.
All right, and do I have a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
Unfortunately, this is a great idea. Too late a little bit, but it's a good move forward, and hopefully we can prevent any other tragedies within the district. So that's my comment. So all those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Next thing up for vote is the reappointment of our solicitor.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. And just to clarify, Chuck, these are at the same rates we currently have now, correct? All right. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Next up is personnel items. Motion for approval. 901.
Motion to approve.
Second? All right.
I have to abstain from this. My wife's on the list.
No problem. All right. Any other questions or comments?
I wanted to ask a question about art teachers, but that's not specifically called on here. Should I wait till the end?
If it's not on here, yes.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor? All those opposed is 0, so motion passes 7-0 with one abstaining, excuse me. All right, policies. Policies for first reading are listed there. Need a motion for approval of the second policies and adoptions of 10.02.
Move to approve 10.02.
Second.
Any questions or comments? I think we went over these pretty well last week. Steph did a great job. So all those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. All right, next up is a revised special ed plan that we talked about last week. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any questions on this? All right.
I guess this begs the question, what was revised?
Yes, the part of the transition, certain transition items or transition activities were added when it was submitted to PDE. So we want to make sure that we are approving the finalized plan, which has been approved by PDE. It was available for public review for 28 days. Then it was sent to PDE. They requested that we add some transition activities. Those were added, but we wanted to have final approval with the document that's been adjusted by the Department of Education. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. All right, the next thing last thing for voting is the approval of agreement for a waiver of expulsion hearing and stipulation for student 018149.
Move to approve.
Second.
Move to approve in a second, thank you. Any questions on this one? All right, all those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. All right.
Dave?
Yep.
I think we skipped over the resolution opposing Senate Bill 2.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Would you like to make the motion? Yes.
Yes.
I would like to move that we create a board resolution opposing Senate Bill 2, which is the educational spending accounts.
Second.
All right, well, we have a motion and a second, and I think this is a great idea, and we've got to send a message to a couple of our, or I guess 3 of our representatives. All of them. Exactly. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? All right, motion passes.
And now that we
8-0.
have your approval, we'll make sure we communicate that to our legislation.
Can I ask a question? Is it, since the committee is looking at tomorrow morning, I know that doesn't leave a lot of time, but is it possible, I don't know how formal these things are. Is there any way to get something to the senator's office before they vote tomorrow?
Thankfully, on our website, we have all of the email addresses, so I will certainly be communicating that.
Thank you.
Before they vote tomorrow,
Yeah.
they will definitely
I think
hear
it's just the
from
one
us.
who's going to be voting tomorrow.
Thank you.
I mean, that's a good point. It's important to get it to Andy tomorrow because he's on the committee. And if it goes further, then the others are going to need to know. All right. That concludes all of the voting sections of the meeting. Before I open up the podium, I just want to ask a couple questions because I think a few people are here about art. And I'm hopeful the superintendent could do a little clarification before comments are made about where we are with the art programs and teacher and et cetera.
Yes, at a previous board meeting, I believe Mrs. Yuan had asked about the art position. And in light of the fact that we have retirements in the art department and a retirement in the art department, and also one art teacher that will be out next year, what is the plan moving forward? And there was speculation or concern that an art teacher would not be replaced. So the way every program works, it's student-driven and student course selection-driven. So at this point, the students register for classes, they select their classes, the high school administration works to determine the number of courses that are offered, the types of courses that are offered based on student choice, and then the number of sections for each of those. Mr. Flick, Mr. Connors, Dr. Capitello, and actually Dr. O'Toole and Dr. Gafredo have been working with the high school team as well to determine the number of sections. We have absolutely no intention of not offering the courses that the students selected, and that the process is not completed at this point. We have a number of less requests for certain art classes, so at this point, it is not determined yet as to how many sections of art will be had, but we will continually monitor that, and we will certainly only fill the amount of positions that are needed based upon student course selections. So that's, I believe, where some of the confusion came in.
And I mean, just so we're clear, or at least I'm clear, so the course selection that we basically offer every year is still the same course selection this year. We didn't shrink it by any, it was just whatever the students, I mean, the normal course selection, correct?
There's the program program of study, which
Right.
the students are presented with, where they choose courses and they select their courses.
Right.
And the numbers of course selections in the areas of art are down this year compared to last year. And which drives the number of sections, the number of courses offered, and therefore the amount of staff needed to fill those courses. As was shared by Mr. Flick to his staff and the department chairs, and again, the high school scheduling is not as clean as elementary school. You have a number of students, they go to homerooms, you divide that number using class size guidelines. At the high school level, students make course selections and then they have to be retrofitted into the schedule that works. So students may choose certain courses and then not end up getting them because they don't fit into their other courses. For example, if they have a lab, which wraps around other things, or they have certain semester courses, it becomes a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. So as we move forward, even if at the point in time where the schedule is solidified, before students start juggling courses or changing courses, we may end up needing more as the schedules are finalized. So the decisions that we will arrive on May 22nd may look different than the decisions we actually end up with at the end of August. But that is not anything really unique or new. That happens frequently.
And I think one more thing, as with any course that we offer, if we don't have a minimal amount of students who sign up for that course may not be offered, correct? Depending on, it may be merged into another one and co-taught or something, but if there's 2 kids that sign up for a course, the odds are that course probably won't be offered, correct?
Absolutely.
No matter what the subject is.
Absolutely, and that is not, again, that is not a unique issue that the high school administration deals with in doing the schedule.
Just want to ask one more clarifying question. I know that last time we discussed it last week or at the finance meeting, it was, you stated that the variety of courses is not changing, right? That we still have, we're still offering them all, depends who signs up, right?
Exactly.
So if, let's say, a course gets eliminated this year because not enough kids sign up, does that mean that will come out of the program for the following year? I would just hate this to be a progressive, diminishing of the variety of great art courses that we offer.
No. My understanding as the high school administration goes through the program of studies, there are some courses that do not run certain years.
Okay.
And that does not mean that those courses are then no longer offered. They're offered and again, students are given the opportunity. Now, there are some times that the department chairs, they decide not to offer those courses, but typically it's for reasons other than, it might be, need of the course or changing in courses, but not because of enrollment typically.
Thank you. I'm just stating my strong support that we continue to maintain the variety of art courses we have as long as, possible, as long as the students sign up for them, right?
Absolutely.
You can't have a course if the students don't
Right.
sign up. And I know that we received many emails from the public, and I'm sure there's some public here that's interested in that as well. Thank you.
So if I can just add to that. We're going on the record saying that we want something to be a certain way. We're not changing it. It is exactly the way it has been for years that I know of. It's how our course selections in every subject are handled. We are not reducing, and the reason that I want to be really definitive is because I do believe that because people say it, sometimes we take for granted that it is actually happening, and it is not happening. We are not changing anything we've ever done in art. We are doing exactly the same way this year, next year, and we anticipate the following years.
So another way of saying is we are not valuing art less next year than we have this year. We still value art. We just need to see where the numbers fall and make a decision based on facts and logic once we see what the numbers tell us.
All right, any other comments or questions around this subject from the board? All right.
I'm sorry, I do want to ask one more thing. It's really, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if there's less sections offered, then that makes it harder for students to take it because they probably need to take science, social studies, et cetera. And so if the art's only offered at a time that conflicts with whatever, the less courses that we have available, the less chance there that they can actually take it, right? So there's still some sort of potential effect on the students of not being able to take the art that they would like to.
Absolutely, and again, that happens frequently throughout courses. I mean, if there are a limited number of students selecting courses, then you're not going to have multiple sections because the numbers don't support that, which has happened, and unfortunately it happens every year. There are typically some courses that is the case. So that's absolutely right.
And as we add courses, like, we have STEAM now, as we add courses, I think that has an effect on some of these other, like art and other things, because if the children now are, some of those children that were interested in art in the past, now we come out with another course of study that they might value more, be more interested in, they're not taking that art class. They're taking something that's more channeled to what they're interested in. So I think that what we offer makes a difference based on what our customers, which are our students, are actually looking to go into.
I just want to reiterate that where we added STEAM at the elementary level, that would not typically impact the high school. And I know that we have an incredible amount of students that really, and as was shared with me, and I had a discussion with some parents, there are certain niches that children find a lot of, they come to school for that, and it could be art, it could be music, it could be chemistry. And we want to, as best we can, offer those channels for every child in the best way we are able to do so. And that said, we're going to continue to do that. It is challenging because as students, and I think Tyler can speak to this, sometimes you have to make choices, and that's really hard. It's hard to do that, so.
All right. At this point, I'll open up the podium for any public comment on any other subject. If you could come to the podium again and state your name and residency, and please try to limit your comments to 3 minutes or less for others. And again, this is a comment section, not a question and answer. So thank you.
I have school tomorrow, so I have to keep this, tonight. I have school coming up, so I have to keep this short. My name is Keziah Landis. I'm 18 years old, and I am one of the soon-to-be graduating seniors of the class of 2018. I'm here to discuss, not only to celebrate the retiring art teacher of the Great Valley High School, but also support the art department as a unit. I also want to ask that you please reconsider or consider more upon the discussion with replacing the art teacher. I would like to talk about the fact that these three teachers who have been part of your art department for years, have been supporting us for years. Since my sister has gone here, which she graduated, I think, in 2011. These are people who are amazing people who have done extreme amounts of work. They answer our emails, they take our pictures, they edit our artwork. They're at school early in the morning, and they are here late at night because they're here to support us. These art teachers act as our confidants. They act as our assistants. They act as our educators, and for some of us, they act as our friends and family when we need it. I'm not sure if you have ever done an AP course in art, but I'm telling you right now, there are tears shed every single time. And you cannot have it without three art teachers. Without three art teachers, I couldn't go into a room and have the expectation to get work done in support of every teacher. I didn't have all of the art teachers that we have before us, but all of them supported me in every single art piece that you see. When you go into the high school on Thursday to see the art that we have produced, those are because of three art teachers. When you go into any art class at the time, it's because of three art teachers. And because of the fact that there are STEM programs, and you're right, not every kid is going to pick art, but so many kids do. We just talked about mental health awareness and having issues with that within our school district. I personally understand the idea of anxiety, and I know it is difficult, but I'm telling you, without art, we wouldn't have as much of relief. Throughout the Huffington Post, it discusses the fact that art is one of the best ways to relieve stress. It is also, according to a study done and funded by art.gov, it has a 20% likelihood of reducing a student's likelihood to have suspension, which helps out the school in so many different ways. Art isn't something that is a choice, it is something that we breathe, sleep, eat. Every day of your life, you wear art, you are art, we all are art, and without it, we are nothing. To take away one teacher, you're taking away an experience from hundreds of students. Without this another art teacher, you are taking away the opportunity for us to fulfill a class. And if a couple students don't take a class, that doesn't matter because you already have over 20 kids who are loving, living, and learning at the best capability. If you take away a teacher, you have to take away a class because these 3 teachers, if you make it 2, they can't do it by themselves. So that means there will be no more oils for Van Gogh. There will be no more prints for Warhols. There will be no more ceramics for Hovens. There will be no more acrylics for Kosamas. And there will be no more pens for kids like me who really just needed a chance. I thank you for listening to what I have to say today. And I really hope and pray that you listen to the words that I'm saying and just read what it says. How do your decisions affect me as students? How do these decisions affect all of us? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Madeline Tickner, and I'm also speaking on the same issue. So I'm also a senior at Great Valley, and as college came around, I decided to commit to Savannah College of Art and Design. Throughout my 4 years at high school, I took numerous art classes, probably every single one that they offer, and I only was able to make my decision on college because of the art classes. And yes, I would just like to, I hope that this helps enforce what we are trying to keep and the significance of the classes that are subject to be removed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hunter Decker. I'm here also to speak on the issue of the art staffing. So I am an alumni of the class of 2013. Some of the board here actually do recognize, which is I'm glad to see. So upon graduating Great Valley, I attended Temple University's Tyler School of Art for 4 years. I've studied abroad in Rome, and now I'm currently employed as a designer for an architecture firm. Now, I mentioned my background because honestly, none of that could have been possible without the guidance of Mrs. Startup and especially Mrs. Ritchie here through the art department. Now, the issue that I see with the staffing isn't, it primarily comes down to the fact of they provide a level of guidance that I believe is also more important than the technical aspects that the art department tries to instill. Without them, myself and many other students that have graduated Great Valley would not have pursued careers within art or design, and that it's something that it's something that is very fundamental to our society itself, especially nowadays when we see the prevalence of media and other forms of creative ventures. By eliminating another staffer from the art department, it sends a message to your current student body that the district is taking a weakened stance towards the creative endeavors. And that in turn will also reflect upon interest within the arts. And I think that is the wrong message that you're trying to send to your student body. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Good evening. I'm Robin Brewer from 57 Fonstock Road. My daughters will be in 6th and 9th grade next year. I'm an art educator at Garnet Valley High School, the other GV, and I'm also the current president of the Pennsylvania Art Education Association. I never thought that I'd be saying all these things in my own district. You may remember my recent email regarding the proposed cuts to the art program for next year. Excuse me. I'm here to express my disappointment and disbelief that Great Valley would think it's an acceptable solution to cut an art position at the high school. The few responses I've gotten from board members have either stated they have not heard about this or the program is not being cut. Yet I've also been told that only 2 art teachers are being scheduled for next year. I find this shocking because Garnet Valley High School has 4 art teachers, and a reduction of 1 teacher would severely impact our program. I always forget to breathe, sorry. Cutting the art staff by 1/3 limits choice and availability for students. It is a fact that Great Valley cannot provide the same number and variety of art classes next year with 1 less teacher on staff. It will also severely impact students' ability to get to the higher level art courses like AP. As the president of PIEA, it's my job to advocate for the arts for all children. I would hope that this district would celebrate and promote their art program instead of cutting it down. As an art educator, I see firsthand how important it is for many students to have art in their schedule, not only to grow as artists and prepare for careers in art, but also to have a means of visual expression in their school day. As a parent of 2 young ladies who aspire to creative professions, I want the best for them, and I want them to feel like they are valued in their school district, even if they don't plan to be a doctor or a lawyer. And I want them to be, in an art class, not a study hall, because they cannot get into an art class. As a taxpayer, I would be embarrassed to say that Great Valley supports some programs and students more than others. I did crunch some numbers. I have a report from PDE on the number of art teachers to student ratio. Great Valley has 1 art teacher for 489 students. Garnet Valley has 1 for every 451 students. Lower Merion, 385. Tredyffrin, 503. So some up, some down. But if you take away 1 art teacher, that goes up to a shocking 557 students per art teacher, which is way higher than any of the others in the area. On this night of recognitions, we can all see that it's the people who make the difference. Please consider the consequences such a cut would make on the students of this district and reconsider the district priorities and who we serve. I hope to see you all at the District Spring Arts Festival this Thursday at the high school. My daughter has peace in the art show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Should I try again? Roxanne Cockerham, and I live in East Whiteland. I wanted to just express my support of the teachers and the agreement that you all are about to undergo. I don't have any numbers. I just wanted to share my thoughts and some personal experiences that I've had that hopefully might provide some things for you to think about. So I've had 8 years to learn my son's complicated personality, unique and wonderful as he is. But we expect our teachers to learn multiple complicated personalities, 20 or more, in much less time than 8 years every year. And they're not simply teaching math, reading, and writing. Our teachers help develop our children's social skills that they're not always very good at. They teach thinking and good study habits, as well as looking out for their safety and creating a fun and happy place for them to spend their days. Even drawing from my own experience as a room mom and chaperone on field trips, I typically only have 4 children to mind during a couple of hours. And I find myself, as I'm leaving school after those couple of hours, thinking, oh my gosh, what a whirlwind. How in the world do they do this all day, every day? And one day I actually asked my son's teacher, how do you do this every day, all day, with 20 plus different personalities? Her answer was, I love the kids. They're great, and it's not that hard. It would be nice to think that that's everywhere, but we're very fortunate in Great Valley to have teachers that are of that kind of a quality that they just love their kids. We also have history. Many of the families in our school district have lived here their entire lives. They graduated from Great Valley. They've either remained in Great Valley or returned to Great Valley to raise their families so that their children can enjoy the same education that they know they received when they were here. We also have relatively low taxes, but yet we have higher property values relative to adjacent areas. And we learned from the redistricting review this past year that builders are actually presenting that as a large selling point in some of their sales pitches. What will happen to our property values if we fail to provide the current quality that we provide now? We have cutting-edge programs. We've been talking all night long about STEAM and art and all of the sciences and all the great programs that we have. And, just the introduction of STEAM. My son comes home from school talking about how great he had a day because he learned so much. And it's not just that he's learning one thing. He's actually learning how to put together all the different things that he's learning in school. And these programs are helping them put these pieces together. And, it could be argued that our district is on the lead of this cutting edge program because I mentioned it to a friend at work and she said to me, what's STEAM? My kids don't have STEAM in their school and they go to Westchester. It's a competitive world and we're leading some of the other schools in our area because we support the high quality. From a less selfish perspective, we should consider that the teachers have families of their own that they need to provide for. And if they can't feel secure about whether they're going to have a job in September or are their benefits going to be cut, we may lose some of their talented educators because they may go somewhere where there's a more stable environment or better offers. We all know that people stay where they feel appreciated and, have a secure future. And with the projected residential growth, the demographics in our schools are guaranteed to be fluctuating throughout the school year. And that can make a significant impact on the teaching environment and our classrooms. We need the stability of strong, high-quality teachers and administration to help support parents and children as they navigate through that change throughout the year. So with all of these thoughts in mind, I encourage the board to settle the negotiations quickly and efficiently and not have to go until August and engage in whatever negotiations you might want. An investment in our teachers is an investment in our children, our economy, and our future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Teresa Friedman, and I'm the parent of 2 children who are currently students in the Great Valley School District. I have a 7th grader finishing 7th grade in the middle school and a son finishing 5th grade at Ktm Field. And my comments are on the same topic of the agreement with the Teachers Association. In light of that topic, I'd like to briefly share my experiences with the teachers that I've had in this district. Over the past 7 years, I've had the privilege of spending time at Ktm Field as a member of the board on the PTO and many years as a classroom parent. Each year, the quality of teachers that my children has had has exceeded my expectations. I am always amazed at their ability to connect with, recognize skills, abilities, and weaknesses in, and work with my child as an individual, while also working with the 25 other children in the classroom with different skills, weaknesses, and abilities. Both of my children have different areas of special need in talent and difficulty. Each and every one of their teachers has been able to recognize their needs and address them individually, while also addressing the individual needs of the other students in the class. And while I have mentioned this many times about specific teachers in conversation with Mrs. Morris, I do feel that it's important to share that with the board as well. This extends beyond the traditional core subject teachers to special area teachers, the physical education teachers at Katie Markley that put effort into events like Field Day and the Turkey Trot, the librarian who puts the effort and thought into activities like Script to Screen and Reading Olympics, the music teacher who put their effort into the performances that we've talked about tonight, and the love of music that they share with our children. And even in the middle school, if anyone has ever seen the middle school musical, it is very clear that the teachers who are involved in that, they care about our kids beyond their responsibilities in the classroom. Additionally, I've seen how teachers in the district go above and beyond their responsibilities, volunteering their time for student activities outside of normal school hours. My children both participated in Girls on the Run and Stride, programs that are offered through the YMCA, and each year teachers from Great Valley volunteer their time and talents to coach those kids. Beyond my admiration of our teachers as a parent, I truly believe that the quality of teachers this district attracts and keeps has a direct and important impact on the overall quality of our schools, which in turn has a direct impact on our property values as homeowners. And that should be important to every homeowner in Great Valley, whether a parent or not. And just outside of the remarks that I prepared, I sat here tonight and listened to the awards that were given out, and I truly believe that those awards do not come from programs or technology or anything else that we implement. It comes from the people that are in the classroom with our students. So I hope that in the interest of providing an excellent education for our children, contributing to the overall sense of community in Great Valley, and maintaining the value of our homes, the board will offer the teachers a compensation package that will continue to attract and retain the high-quality teachers that we have in need in our district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Amit Kohli, Atwater, and please excuse my voice, I lost it because of the allergies. Last time when I was here, I was in total disagreement with Roxanne, but today I stand here to back what she said, and that is that I'm here to request the board to accept a contract that is favorable to the teachers. Because teachers are not just educators, they are nation builders. So if my child is so good at reading or maths, it's not because of me. I hardly get time to come and teach her what maths and reading. It's because of Miss Kaur, because she spent the whole day with her, and she is the one who's imparting this learning ability in her. If she knows how to follow the rules, it's not maybe because of us, but it's more because of Mrs. Morris, who spends time with each and every student of Katie Markley. So whenever you're negotiating in this, please keep in mind that the stability that these teachers are providing to our kids, please provide them the same stability so they don't have to turn back and see who's watching my back. Let's have their back. And let's have them, so that they don't worry about their families and they do what are they supposed to do. And Roxanne was talking about the newer residents, and I'm one of them. And yes, it is true that the builders are exploiting this. And a great school district is not just the infrastructure or the programs, it's the teachers. That's what we researched. What kind of teachers are there? What is the methodology? How friendly are they? So based upon that, we moved in the school district, and I hope and I pray that you finish the negotiation before the June 30th and not take it to August, and get it to an agreement which is favorable to them. And even if it needs to, our taxes to go up a little bit, as a newer resident, I'm saying I'm okay. And I know we have a state law that you have to be with a limited number. But if with a number you wanna raise it, at least I'll be good. And I can say that for many families that have moved in. So with that, I'll just close my, my comment. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Hi, I'm John Brewer from East Whiteland. She already spoke. I just want to add a couple of things. First, I'd like to point out that the students who are best served by art are the students who generally are most in need. It is a very important thing to keep in mind as we look at staffing questions. If you wait until August to fill a position for those students who are in need, you are not serving those students. The best candidates for any new position are there right now. They won't be there in August. Second thing I'd like to point out is I've heard from the board discussing STEAM programs. Let's keep in mind that the A in STEAM is art. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Dr. Jane Tang, and this is my first time to attend a school board meeting. It is really lengthy. That's good, oh good.
Can you also state your residency?
I'm from Exton here. So I have 3 children currently enrolled in the kindergarten, 5th grade, and 9th grade. I'm here to express my sincere appreciation to the superintendent, to the principals, teachers, and staff members. I'm proud to be a parent of 3 children who are enrolled in this outstanding school district. I'm also here to voice my support to increase in the school budget to fund high-quality programs and recruit and retain high-quality teachers and staff. I believe high-quality educational program and staff not only provide an excellent education for the kids in this community, but also help to maintain our property value. It is my belief it is very important for our school board members to take an active role in the negotiation process to secure attractive compensation package so that we can attract and retain high-quality teachers and staff in this school district. Thank you.
Bruce Chambers, James Thomas Road. I'm here to ask you to reject the budget at the next meeting that you have in June. It's not a reasonable budget, and I'll tell you why. Spending has increased far above inflation over the last 5 years at a rate greater than 6% a year, and the district wants 6% more. That alone is indefensible. Improvements haven't occurred to justify a $30 million increase in the last 6 years, and improvements aren't promised with next year's 6% increase. If you spent the same per student as other districts doing better than us, or nearly as well as Great Valley, you could cut our taxes between 10 and 25%. You have the highest salaries and benefits in the county. In fact, they are so high that 4 years from now, the Unionville district will still have salaries which are thousands of dollars below what our teachers currently make this day. It's hard to explain that to the taxpayers, especially since Unionville does better academically than Great Valley year after year. The administration promised a reasonable cost to the taxpayers when you approved the current contract 2 years ago. The reality is just the opposite, as salaries and benefits have increased more than 8% a year. In light of that, why do you give any credence to the district's budget plan? Now the district says they need more money for capital projects. Really? Where was that concern when the administration negotiated the teacher's contract just 2 years ago? Where was the planning? There is no fiscal planning. They just keep asking for more money because they know you can get it. They know they can get it, and they can get you to approve a 1% tax increase if they say they need the money. They don't have a plan, they just ask for more money, and the taxpayers are further burdened because of their lack of planning and proper budgeting. The administration demonstrates no respect for the taxpayers. In fact, at the March board work session meeting, the administration publicly belittled the efforts of taxpayers to educate the public on the budget, belittled the expectations of the taxpayers that a budget should actually be accurate, showed a lack of respect for the public's efforts to contact the board with their concerns, and criticized the public's efforts to analyze the budget process. Yet you, as a board, did nothing in public to address this behavior, and that tainted your reputation as well. And now, the ultimate lack of respect has been demonstrated as the administration just proposed taking $700,000 out of their budget requests, but they didn't reduce their proposed tax increase by the same amount. Could there be a more obvious indication that the administration has no regard for the taxpayers? They cut the budget requests, but they don't cut the tax increase. While I feel a $700,000 reduction is woefully inadequate, they could have at least reduced the tax increase by 1%, which is what that amount approximates. But no, they just want more and more money. The administration has no credibility with me. Their defense of the budget is to say, quote, "This is the way we've always done it," end quote. Well, if that's the case, the board needs to provide new direction for the staff. I am asking you to do the right thing. Your responsibility is to serve the community who elected you, rather than just serve the school district. Your job is oversight, not blind agreement. Reject this budget at your next meeting, or at the very least, you need to reduce the tax increase. You can't defend this budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Dwyer, 10 Stewart Drive, East Whiteland. I'm just going to tag along with what some of Bruce's comments. I'd like to draw one comparison for you that perhaps no one has told you. I know you've constantly heard about a comparison of Unionville and Great Valley. That gets hammered all the time. And I'm going to take it a little bit further. Unionville has 4,000 students right now. We have just over 4,100. Unionville has 6 buildings, 6 schools, we have 6 schools. The 2 schools are almost identical when you break down everything about them. In 2012-13, Unionville's budget was $71 million. Ours was 76, a difference of $5 million. Our budget this year is $105 million. Theirs is 87. In 6 years, the difference has grown from 5 million to 18 million for 2 schools that educate basically the same number of kids. There is something wrong with the budget in Great Valley, and it's time for you to take a look at it. I know you're not going to do anything this year, but you need to start and you need to get ready for next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? All right, board has a comment real quick. The board has tremendous respect for our district's teachers. This can be evidenced in part by the fact that the teachers remain the highest of any public school district in Chester County. Teacher salaries, sorry. The teacher salaries remain the highest of any public school district in Chester County. The starting pay for Great Valley teachers is the highest in Chester County. While the district's student-to-teacher ratio is among the lowest. In addition, this school district offers the teachers health care packages the most premium of any school district within Chester County. The board is optimistic we will come to some type of agreement and we will continue to negotiate with the union. All right, any other comments?
Yes, I find it necessary to talk about something tonight, and it is not an issue that is protected. So it has to be done in the public. So I know it's late, and I'm really sorry, colleagues, but we have public comment, and that's great. it's all part of the process. But what I'm seeing, and Steph touched on it a little bit ago, is we are spending this district's money for legal opinions because I don't know why. We've operated in a certain way. We know what we're doing, and yet I really feel like I'm seeing emails from the same people 2 and 3 times a month that this district is spending an incredible amount of money to give the same information multiple different ways. The reason that this is perplexing to me is because I do believe that it's our job to watch the dollars. And part of the problem with this is that just because someone stands at the podium and makes a statement does not make it right. We had 2 people at the first citizens forum that made a comment that don't listen to so-and-so and you people are acting against the law. And we have a legal opinion that we actually spent money when we knew we've been doing it the same way and that it is lawful. But I feel like we are allowing ourselves to spend money needlessly because we're challenged by people that make it sound like their plight is true and correct, and it really isn't. So, and I also don't believe that we're balanced as to how we handle some of what we get at the podium. For instance, there's certain times we say, well, thank you very much for your comment, and that's it. And then there's other times we cause our administrators an incredible amount of work to deliver the same information. We get copies of what our constituents that make comments are getting. And in 1 week, I saw documents that were actually the exact same things, just put out in a different way. Our job as school board directors is not to make sure that every constituent understands the information that we give them. Our job as a school district is to govern within the confines of the law, provide information according to the law and to school code. Whether our constituents grasp it, like it, or don't like it, I believe our obligation is to give it to them. We are repeating this over and over again, and I don't understand why. I think it's costing us a lot of money, and I'd like to see it stop.
Our obligation is to make sure that we're doing the right thing legally. If someone challenges that, I don't think, unless the board says differently, that we would not want to seek legal opinion to make sure we're making the right decision under the law. Is that not correct? I mean, whether we're spending money.
No, because I think we already know the answer to a lot of that.
Let me ask a simple question. So tonight, we were challenged on 3 consent agenda items, being legal or not. Would any of these board members have voted or wanted additional information? I personally wanted additional information to know whether or not that was legally correct or not, and so we sought it out to make sure we all had the information to make the right decisions.
And when someone comes forward with an accusation that you're doing something unlawful, like, I want to be sure. I'm human, I do make mistakes, I'm not a lawyer by training. So it's unfortunate that we had to spend money on things like this, but I think it's just part of the nature of what we do. And there will be times when we make mistakes. I hope not a lot, but I'd rather have a process so that we can try to avoid them and ask for a guidance from a lawyer if we need be. So I think we can always do better, and hopefully we don't have to get to that point where we need to get to a lawyer, that we can work it out before. But I'm support that we had to do that. So.
Yeah, it's not a criticism, it's just that I see so much time being spent by our admin even before we get to going for that legal opinion. So what I'm saying is, if we're going to go...
I understand what you're saying.
If we're going to go for the legal opinion, let's do it before we instruct our administrators to give the same information to the same constituent 3 different ways. What I'm saying is, we're going to spend them, I have no problem with getting the legal opinion. What I have the problem with is having to do the work more than one time. It's not our obligation to continue to give information until somebody says, okay, I agree, because there are some people that are never going to agree with anything.
Ellen, respectfully, like, I do think that we want to try to overeducate, and if we can communicate and get to a point where we don't, and I think we tried, like, we really tried to work things out before getting the lawyer involved, so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I think there are a lot of situations where the school board has, not with this issue necessarily, but met with parents about other issues and headed off a problem before it becomes a big problem, because they do talk about it and work with them. And it may be the first time you explain it, just like, learning Singapore math. The first time maybe it doesn't make sense, then you look at it from a different direction, suddenly like, okay, I can understand your point of view and here's where I'm coming from. So I think it's good to have these conversations, but I do appreciate that the district over-communicates rather than tries it once and then says, this didn't work, let's call a lawyer. Or this didn't work, that's your problem. So, because it's our problem.
I'm just worried about the outlay of money.
No, time out. I mean, we're going to spend the money to do, like tonight. I wouldn't have voted without knowing the answer. And that costs money. That's unfortunate, but that's life. So to sit there and say we're not going to spend the money to do the proper thing, I don't know. If that's,
Dave, I'm not saying not to spend the money. I'm okay that we spent the money. What I'm not okay with is that our administrative team, who we really want to do the work of educating our students, spends an incredible amount of time producing the exact same information prior to the board saying, let's get a legal opinion. So what I'm saying is, to me, it mitigates our expense, because time is money. Our administrative team's time to keep producing the same information is costly. So what I'd rather see us do is to say, okay, let's get the legal opinion before we have our administrative team spend all the time. If we're going to go for the legal opinion, and I'm okay with it, let's do it sooner.
That's exactly what we did today. Before a lot of time was spent, I talked to Regina this morning and said, let's get a call with the attorney. And I forget what time it was, 2 o'clock or so.
As soon as he was available.
Yeah, as soon as he was available, Chuck, Regina, and I spoke to the attorney on the issue. So there wasn't a lot of time or effort spent between 7:30 and 2 o'clock.
Dave, no, the time was spent with the administrators over the last 2 weeks from the same emails that are making the same claims, and the administrative team putting packages and information together. That's where the time was spent. It's not a criticism. What I'm saying is, let's say that this is what we're going to do. We'll go for a legal opinion before our administrators spend an incredible amount of time and effort producing just to have us come around and say, let's get a legal opinion. That's what I'd like to see.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Excuse me, this is our public meeting. You didn't call for a motion to adjourn. This is a public, do we not?
Wait a minute, Ellen, first off, he has the right to make that motion under the rules, okay? It still calls for a second and then discussion, so, but we get your point, and we do what you're asking for, okay? We do minimize the effort that's put into it. We do get legal opinions up front where we can. And we are doing that. And there's right to knows that get filed and that we are legally obligated by law to fulfill. I mean, that's the bottom line. It's the cost of doing business, whether you like it or not, so.
And the cost also.
We get your point.
No, I know, and the cost also, and I get Phil can make a motion to adjourn. I can also sit here and go on the record and say, I'm highly offended, as should everyone sitting here looking at this meeting.
You know, again, we understand your point, so.
I'd like to second Mr. Forey's motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion to adjourn passes 7-1. Thank you.